Hello, listeners. This is a prelude, which means unfortunately I have to share some bad news. We usually use Craig, a wonderful free Discord recording client who gets 4 separate tracks of high-quality audio, downloadable for free. Now, Craig was under patch maintenance due to a Discord update when we played, which means Craig was regularly crashing and unavailable. I had to use a backup bot and it sucked. ME6 is one of the worst bots I have ever used for voice recording. I thought it would be good because it costs $12 a month plus a $4 hidden service fee, but no. It sucks shit, absolutely worthless bot, so I apologize for the choppy audio quality and expositional interludes. There's very little I can do about it. Craig will be up and running next time because they have fixed whatever patch. We were struck once more by the specter of bad luck, and I am sorry. I hope you enjoy the episode regardless, because there is a part 2, and this was a very good session. I've done what I can to mitigate the choppiness, but unfortunately it is still present. I apologize if that bothers you.
Just to recap from last time, we were able to retcon you, Trazodone. You got sick, passed out in the carriage.
I figured Trazodone, ideal character to be retcon, and Trazodone's still sick this week.
Yeah, of course.
He's really hungover.
That was fine. It was a really good session. Joe, props to you. That was sick RP with giving the kid the sword and like fuck it, just being good. Just incredible, man. Props. I was shockingly affected by it when I listened to it. I was like, wow, you just did a really good job. Fuck. Good shit.
Just a quick note about inventory. So we've accumulated quite a bit of stuff that we haven't really used much, and partly it's just probably because only I know that we have it. But
chronicler.
Yeah. We have a costume set that we got from the VAM at some point during the first session. I don't remember where.
Vampire Man was hiding his age and being an old man, and then his old man's son. And
two bags of holdings, costume set, a magic stove, which we got from the orc, the ogre, in his cave. Okay, that's it. And a bunch of gold coins.
Good stuff.
We could do something with that, you know. Costume set, that's fun.
We could pretend to be old men.
Mm-hmm.
We're breaking into a old folks' home.
Nice. Okay, cool. So you can reference collective inventory and spells and mission types all in pin now.
Cool.
Wonderful. Good call. Thank you. Cool. Well, as far as upgrade tokens go, Lurch, you get one. What do you want to do with it?
I would like to I feel like Zoe and Mirabella are so strong now that I will upgrade my HP to 4.
Whoa, nice.
Because I'm always too afraid. I don't want to get involved in combat.
Okay. How much HP do both your centipedes have?
They both, I don't know if we ever,
I think they have 1 and 2.
That would make sense because Mirabelle is definitely bigger than Zoe.
Okay, cool. Okay, this one just goes to Lurch then, I think, because that would make you have like what 7 hit points total. That's wild. So I think having Lurch be kept at 4, and then the centipede be 2 and 1. It seems reasonable to me. It's like the vampire that you guys fought on the first session had 8 hit points. So for reference on how hard that is to take down.
Could I go to 2 with Zoe and Mirabella having 2 and 3?
Yeah, that works.
Reallocate them. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
Cool. Yeah, just write it down and track it as such. I agree. That's
you
very
should
practical.
get a projectile weapon next time. Oh, you already got your blow darts. Never mind.
And they can both spit.
Fucking sick.
Yeah,
I know about that. I was talking about Lurch.
Gotcha. Yeah. What do you want, Flit?
Okay, so can I have the ability to make healing potions so that I can spread my healer juice and not be the only healer?
We should just make healing a free action for you. Unless you that's like a bonus action. So like you could cast an offensive spell and heal one of your friends.
Oh
fine.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's significantly better. So
Yeah.
we'll just do that.
Okay.
That's
For
cool.
sure.
That's good. Good clerics can do that in D&D too, so I don't feel that bad.
Yeah, I just want to make healing more practical because, having to choose between doing a cool thing and being the only one who can stop the bleeding.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's fine.
Fair enough.
Do we want to give me and Rob any bonuses? so
Yeah,
we're not
I was gonna
level one
say.
characters.
Yeah, I was gonna say pick 2 extra things from your base class.
I'm just gonna go to 4 hit points. My guy, that's gonna make sense for my character, I think.
Oh fuck, base class. God damn it.
You said you wanted to be an int guy, Rob. So I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
What are
Would
your
that be?
what's the first way you learned how to fight?
Oh, I just have like a. Are there rudimentary
Guns.
firearms in this?
Yeah, always.
Yeah,
have
I just have. So my guy is wealthy, but I don't need a broken gun. Just a fancy gun.
Gonna have a
Posh bastard's piece of shit gun.
a 2-shot flintlock
Perfect.
pistol.
Perfect.
With a mother of pearl handle.
Absolutely mother of pearl handle. Everything is mother of pearl on it.
Okay. What else can you do? You have 2 more things to upgrade. So right now you have 2 HP and you have a flintlock pistol that can fire 2 rounds before it takes 1 turn to reload.
Okay. Can I have some sort of like spectacles that increase my perception, like vaguely magical spectacles or something like that?
Interesting. A magic item?
Mhm.
Yeah, but I want them to do something specific. I don't want them
Okay.
to just increase
Just
a
be like
general.
a +1. Okay.
Why not just advantage on perception checks?
Well, he already gets that because he picked intelligence
Yeah.
as his.
Let's see. What if the glasses? Would it be broken if the glasses could like show me a family circus style trail of like where people have been, but couldn't identify what they were? Like a little like, oh, I can see like footprints, but they're nondescript. I can't tell whose footprints.
I was thinking you can tell the like age of footprints if you look at them with these glasses on, or like maybe even the age of like a scratch. Like you could just like how old is this dent on this like
yeah,
it's just like
okay. Yeah, just for generalizability's sake. Just, like,
but it
when
does
I
that
see-
one specific thing. It tells
when
you
I-
how old
right.
evidence is because you're
So
a
when
detective.
I see something that's been rustled or disturbed or footprint, like things that evidence like someone having been there, I can tell how long ago that happened.
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. Love it.
Last one.
Anticipate. Ooh, no. An intelligence thing where I know one thing whoever I'm talking to is very insecure about.
No, that's too good.
God damn it.
Is it too good? Can it? What if it's like only a
It's-
superficial insecurity?
It's so fun though, or maybe it's like a twice per session or something. It's so fun, or like with a long rest.
I mean,
I think it's
Yeah.
brilliant. I think it's
yeah, I
great.
mean, twice every long rest. I mean, I just
Yeah,
don't want
like
that
it's
to be
an ability.
unlimited.
It's not something
okay.
it's not something I can do.
Cool.
It'd be broken if I could just do it, like bring someone to their knees.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
My character,
Perfect.
Adam, just so
Just leave
you
it.
know, is a
Mhm.
Dex character. He uses
Yeah.
the weapons that he was trained to use in the swamp army.
Okay. And what are those?
I don't know. I kind of want to ask the gang some sort of spear weapon is what I was just gonna fall back on. But what would be like a neat thing for swamp like
Fishing
footmen to
spear,
have?
a spear attached to a rope, like a harpoon.
Stick.
Mhm.
Perfect.
You're a fisherman.
I think I like the fishing spear. I think that's sick.
Cool. Okay. Wow. Everyone's accounted for. Excellent. Wonderful. How do your characters? How do Lurch and Flit deal with the feelings of last time?
Honestly, I'm feeling pretty morally satisfied. I'm not fucked up at all.
Okay, so they're now in the hallway for Mystery Mary's office and have met Cumbernald and Scumbucket. Here is where the bot crashed, and here is where we needed to switch. So sorry if this transition is abrupt. There's pretty much nothing I can do but talk over it.
My name is Cumbernauld Turtwilliker. I'm here to make sure you don't bugger up this investigation the way you've buggered up so many in the past.
I think we've done pretty well.
Yeah, I mean,
That's not what my employer thinks.
are you not with VSC?
I am with one employer. That is myself, paid through my trust fund. I'm something of an investigative hobbyist.
So you don't think that we did a good job?
Cool. Well, Mystery Mary is very prompt. The door opens to reveal another door that's sort of like a one-way screen, so you can't see what she looks like. There's a little slot. She's, hello. Thank you for being on time. I'm Mysterious Mary. You're here for that mission, aren't you? Yes,
Yes.
that one.
We might be.
Here's the thing.
Cut to the chase, please.
She kind of like leans forward and her voice gets a little louder through the slat, and she says, this is a high priority legal matter. Going to need you to go and investigate. There's a clause in the Qatarian statutes that mandates internal investigators be called when aristocrats are at each other's throats. And so you need to go be the independent investigators. In exchange, we'll receive upgrade tokens upon completion of the mission. Do you have any questions, comments, or concerns?
Aristocrats at each other's throats, huh?
Allegedly. You're to meet Sheriff Caulfield in the Riverside Tavern. The Roaring River Tavern. To leave at once. By sigil, she passes little tokens, like little slips, rather, through the hole. And then you'll need to take a ferry. She hands you another set of slips.
What did you call me?
And you'll need to arrive... It's pretty good. You should arrive about 6 hours from now. Have you eaten breakfast? You have. The bug juice was nice today, wasn't it?
It was.
Well,
Delectable.
you should get... Well, you're changing time zones favorably, so you'll get there about 4 o'clock in the afternoon local time. Of course there's time zones. It's about 7:30 a.m. Mary says, do you have any questions? Meet Sheriff Caulfield at the inn. He said he'll be waiting for you. It's very urgent.
All right. We'll leave at once.
Thank you. Go into the sigil room. The orc says, tickets, and he rips them in half, and he says, go to that one, and he points to a big old slab of, like, reddish granite. You walk through that, and you're in, like, this weird dockyard. There's a ferryman shouting, and the orc on the other side takes your slips from you that were ripped in half, and he says, yep, we'll keep these for when you come back. Now, go to the ferryman. And it's the carriage driver, and he says, oh, you guys again. I got me on... Oh, fuck, all right, let's go. You always have me waiting around. And you give tickets to the orc, get on the ferry, on the ferry for about 6 hours. If you guys want to do anything
Nobody
this time.
spoke a word the entire time.
That was Scumbucket.
I'm
What do you do?
I'm sitting like this and reading.
Oh, this and that.
Oh, okay.
Uncle Mulch tells me you drive a pretty tight ship round here.
Oh, damn.
You could say that, yeah. I'm sort of, I think, the captain of the group, and I'd say I keep us in pretty strict order.
Heard that.
I know
What a
things
job
do about.
you've been doing, I say, looking over my calculus textbook.
Thank you. I learned how to be very well organized after I ran my extremely large and successful centipede farm.
Centipedes. Back home, we used to farm millipedes.
Millipedes.
Yeah, millipedes.
Yes. A bit smaller,
Using
but
the
much
feet-
more numerous.
Much more numerous. We use them to feed our livestock. Feed our
I always-
livestock.
I always admired a millipede farmer's ability to handle a brood that large.
Quite the brood. You could say that. How about you? What's your breed?
Oh, of course, the most beautiful and elegant of all the centipedes, the Western Ridge.
Ridgeback.
Yes, of course. I'm so happy I finally met someone with such excellent taste.
Oh, I just wish you had some around. I haven't seen a Western in quite some time.
You can't imagine the pleasure I have in introducing you to my sweet Zoe and Mirabella. They both crawl out
My
of my backpack.
God.
Mirabella at this point is 4.5 feet long.
Yeah.
Her retractable
you-
tentacles fully extended.
Real Doc Ock moment.
Oh, what a couple of beauties
God
these
damn.
two are.
They just
Oh,
molted.
hey-
Their carapaces are
sweet.
fresh.
You did
She-
save the carapace. We were
Of
going
course.
to.
Yep,
Oh,
I kept them
wonderful!
just for you so you can make your pigments.
I appreciate that.
Scumbucket is like rolling around wrestling with both of the centipedes.
Nice. Carriage
Aw,
driver
look,
turns
wow.
over in
Little
disgust
friend.
as he fords some rapids.
The carriage
Coming
rapid.
up on Woodborough. Got about 20 minutes.
I'm at you, Muscles. What's your deal?
I'm reading my calculus textbook.
Not talking to you.
That's
Just
fine. I was just saying I was
looking
reading my calculus
looking
textbook.
directly at Flit.
I understand I'm small in stature, but you don't have to make a joke of it.
Sorry.
Then
I
make
just, us hummingbird people are disrespected for being small, and they call us gnomes. Not that there's anything wrong with being a gnome, but it's like we're a whole different thing, and we're just. I know we're little, but you don't have to make a whole bit of it. I'm sorry for being so sensitive. It's just,
I'm sorry. I thought it was funny. Seeing as you're not particularly muscular and I called you Muscles. And as
Carriage
you
driver
know,
laughs.
muscles are entirely made of a
they're-
shell and a muscular interior. They are the strongest animals of the sea.
I didn't know that.
simply untrue, you uneducated swine.
So, Cumbernald, you seem pretty educated yourself. What's your
Indeed.
background?
Well, I'm something of a Renaissance man. A man of, well, previously leisure, but now pure intelligence. Pure investigation, if you will. And I suppose you will.
oh my gosh, we have
I
so
will.
many guys like this in my MFA program.
Only if anybody calls themselves a Renaissance man, it means they ain't a Renaissance man.
What would your Uncle Dirt know about anything?
He said
Probably
mold
not much
hunter.
about that.
Well, Uncle Mulch went to
producing art. What are you
university of
producing?
civil
Receipts?
engineering. He's met all sorts of types.
He knows nothing of the classics then. He's simply a man of beams and loads. Sheer forces. He
That
knows
does sound
nothing
like
of the
civil engineering.
mind. He's grounded in the physical world. Much as a swine or a bovine may be.
If you're not fussing about with the arts,
I'm a
you're not.
student of the mind, bird.
So, Slick, you know this guy?
He just joined us. I haven't met him.
He's really something, huh?
Yeah, he seems pretty smart.
Indeed I am.
The boat goes down the river a ways. You start to come into town. I'm going to go ahead and paste a map of Woodborough. Actually, I'll wait, because, whatever. You guys come into town. There's like 3 really big mountains on the way in. And it's very, wow. And it's kind of this really rich valley. There's a forest in the distance, and, the town is pretty big. It's like about 150, 200 people live here. Milton is kind of where the royalty or the aristocrats live, and then as you guys go further down the river past the roads, you see sawmill infrastructure. It's a lumber town. Everything gets loaded on the river and shipped down into the Qatarian mainlands, and so this is very much a staging point in the life cycle of wood. And you guys pull up to the Roaring River Tavern. It's got a big old water wheel. It's mostly for show. Carriage driver loops the ferry onto the dock. All right, it don't go up river. but we'll figure that out when you guys come back. And then, yeah. Get off, the air smells fresh. It's pretty.
I flutter onto the dock. I whistle for the local birds. See if there's any response.
Mountain birds. It's pretty far east. This is the easternmost mission you guys have done so far. Getting kind of close to swamp territory, but not quite.
I load up Zoe and Mirabelle in the backpack and head into the tavern.
Okay.
Is it humid?
So it's actually sort of starting to be autumn. We started this campaign in the dog days of summer.
Yeah.
But now it's autumn. You feel that fresh bite to the air. It's a little humid, but not in an oppressive way.
Nice and crisp day.
Yep, it's about 3:30 in the afternoon, so you've got that fall warmth. The leaves haven't changed yet. Still too early.
Okay, thank you.
The tavern is dimly lit, ramshackle. You can hear the water rushing, the river very loudly. You can almost see it through the floor, the cracks in the floorboards, that is. Barkeep, standard barkeep, and just some guy. He looks pretty nice. And then sitting at the bar is what is very obviously a little Qatarian sheriff. He's got a mail on and like a dorky little helmet. Visors up. He's having a drink.
I think that's our guy with the dorky looking helmet.
Let's give it away.
Oh, hey! Oh, you guys from VSC?
Yes.
Oh, let me buy you a drink. I'm real happy you could make it.
Okay.
That's
I'm only 18. Am I allowed to drink here?
It don't matter. What were you saying?
All right. I like that.
Annie?
So what's the local drink around here?
Well, we got water beer. This is the bartender talking now. We've got grass beer. We've got the woodchuck ale. It's the seasonal special. The Oktoberfest hasn't quite cured yet, fermented all the way, but that'll be here if you stay through the week.
Y'all got any vine wine?
Yeah, absolutely.
Aaron, what are
Alright,
you
I'll
drinking?
have some vine wine.
I'm drinking the woodchuck ale myself. It's a classic.
I'll have one of those.
All right, you guys all get your respective drinks.
I'll have a creme de menthe, please.
Is that creme de menthe?
I don't know what that is.
Yes, it's creme de menthe.
Walk me through it. What are the ingredients? I'll make it. I just don't know what
The
it is.
ingredients is creme de menthe.
We don't got that here.
What's the closest thing you do have?
Well, you never told me what it was, so I can't answer your
Creme de
question.
menthe.
Creamy mint.
I don't know.
What's your selection of aperitif like?
We've got some gin.
Fine.
Gives you a
Gin it
glass of
is.
gin.
I swallow the whole glass in one swallow. Another gin, please. It was mediocre.
Pours you another gin. Rolls his eyes.
Thank you.
Oh wow! I bet this guy's gonna be real
I
perceptive.
pay him 3 times the cost of it.
Well, you're too kind.
Hey,
No,
you
I'm
got
not.
mine too.
The sheriff says, so anyways, boy, I hate to get into it. I hope you all had a nice travel, but we're not here to mince words. What I think we got is a case of a classic inheritance murder. Now, I don't know who did it. That's sort of the tricky part. But what I do know is that on her way home last night, the widow Ansley was in her carriage on her way back from the lawyer's house. She had a writ of will donating a large parcel of land to both kingdoms. The parcel of land was received 10 years ago when her husband lost his life in battle. He was the old courtly knight. Now, what's odd about it is that Miss Ansley was traveling by carriage a distance of about 2 miles. But someone must have been on the hill because, well, a crossbow bolt severed the trachea of the driver, causing the carriage to careen off the road into Ravine Park, where she rested. It was a heavy rainstorm that night. The footprints are washed away. It's very clear that someone made sure their mark had landed because the debris was disturbed. And the will was gone. So
So who
That's
gets
what I
the
got.
money? Who gets the land with no will?
with no will, it would go to the children. But it was always going to go to the children.
Except for that bit of land she was sending off, right? The
Well, I'm
land
assuming they
she
would
was
still be in
donating.
charge of administrating it, but yes.
Well, who would benefit then? This doesn't make much sense.
No, it doesn't. Not at all. Here's a map. And he gives you the map. You're infecting me with your British, Rod. This guy started off as Southern and he's migrating. Yeah, it's real funny. That big red X is where-
Britishness is a disease, Adam. You're right.
Yes, yes. It's that's about all we got. The widow Ansley, her neighbors, the Birches, the Ravine Park. You know, the land in question is just behind her property. It's off the map. It's not technically part of the town yet. It's part of their estate.
I suspect
crime
the
scene.
sheriff. The past two mysteries, it's been the first person we met. So it must be the sheriff.
Therefore,
Kill him now.
Is the crime scene still there?
yeah, you want to go
I
see
got
it?
I think that'd be the best first step.
All right. Okay. So, anyways, the sheriff walks you through town. Pretty quiet town, lumber town. You know, most people do the same thing. Not a super textured place, but it is rustic, quaint. You come across the Ravine Park, and sure enough, there's a little area cordoned off. A carriage has rolled down the hill. There's a nice pile of rubble. The bodies have been removed. This is already, you're not the first people on the scene.
Terrible sight.
Yep. Had to pull the widow Ainsley out of there around sunrise this morning. She's getting dressed. We're trying to get an embalmer to come in from one of the next towns over, but not a lot of luck.
How did the widow die? I know you already said it.
She was in the carriage when it rolled off the hill.
Got
He
it.
points up to the road, which is 30 or 40 feet up above, like it's an escarpment. You guys are
Wow,
kind of by the
terrible.
riverside.
What was the actual wound that killed her?
Chronic trauma. If you really want to know when the wood splintered, one of the splinters got her in the jugular.
Oh.
She
Oh.
bled out all over the place. And you guys can hear the flies and stuff as you get closer to the actual wreckage.
How many bruises and wounds and stuff are on her? Is she mostly fine except for the big wound on the neck? Or is
No, she was
generally-
pretty messed up. Carriage seems to have rolled based on the way that the frame is damaged, bent up.
I'm going to use my glasses to see if all the wounds occurred at about the same time.
You can't see her body.
You can't. She's not there.
Oh fuck! Damn it!
Yeah, they would have removed that. That's with the family getting dressed for the wake.
Wait, removed what?
The
Her body was taken from the scene.
Oh. Can we see the body?
It's up to the family, unfortunately.
Can we speak with the family?
Yeah. You got anything you want to do here? Before
I'd
we go
like to
do
see
that.
where's the suspected location of the crossbow.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. And you guys kind of take probably about 10 minutes to hike up up out of the ravine and onto the road. And he points up at the hill and he says, I mean, you could see some of the grass is tamped up right over there. So I reckon he was probably about, 30, 40 feet away. Hell of a shot.
Hell of a shot.
Mm-hmm.
We've
Hell
got
of
the
a
dart
shot.
right here, if you want to see it. It's made of local materials, unfortunately. And that's what really troubles me. It's that, someone in this town did it. I can tell
Yeah.
it's the same sort of wood, same sort of flint.
Say, would it have been public knowledge that she was making this journey at this exact time on this exact route?
I don't think it would have been, Mr. Lurch.
So, who
Why
would have
it
known
be?
about
It was
it?
a rainy night. I think the neighbors would have known about it. The lawyer that she was going to see would have known about it. The groundskeeper who lives on the Ansley grounds would know about it. And her children would know about it.
Potentially the Duke would be aware, because this does involve a large parcel of land changing hands. And unfortunately, those are all of our suspects.
What about you, Sheriff? You know about it?
No. Why would I know about it? I was busy rounding up drunk Larry and putting him back in jail. That son of a bitch wastes so much of my time.
Your problem with drunk
Well,
Larry.
Why do you allow
Sheriff?
him to
Hey,
waste your
instance.
time?
And there's this weird little beggar that just showed up, but I don't know nothing about that neither. He's some sort of goblin. Probably used to be a court jester or something, I don't know. But
Oh,
Hey, we knew an old goblin was a court jester.
he was a very bad man.
and then there's Sewer Jim. I don't know about Sewer Jim. He's just very contemptuous. But he might know a thing or two. But he ain't a suspect as far as I'm concerned.
You would have no reason to know.
Why would he? He plays poker with goblins in a culvert all day.
No offense, Sheriff, but if we were concerned with what you were concerned with, we wouldn't be here now, would we?
Oh, of course. You're more than welcome to meet the suspect.
Well said.
I got an alibi. There's court logs and everything saying that I arrested drunk Jerry. Larry?
Mhm. Who wrote those court logs, Sheriff?
Moreover,
intern.
who cares about drunk Larry or Jerry or whoever
Hanover. He's the
probably
blacksmith's boy, but he don't want to go into blacksmithing. He don't like the heat, so he's been helping me out at the jail lately.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Wants to go into law enforcement?
Mm-hmm. And Mr.
Real
Hanover will vouch for that because I returned his son safely, in the wee hours of the morning.
Lord. I'm sure you couldn't possibly pressure an unpaid intern into
All right.
forging some court documents for you now, could you, Sheriff?
We don't
That'd
need
be
to fuss
impossible.
on this man until we've got reason to. I mean, I understand we've had folks give us grief in the past, and they were the ones who hired us, but come on now. There's all sorts of unsavory characters in this town.
Law says I gotta hire you.
Scumbucket's getting real big on the sheriff.
He's got this kind of reserve in his eyes and his posture to where he knows what you're doing and he's letting you do it. And you're getting away with it. And he's just too big of a man to even care.
Sheriff, who are your prime suspects at this point?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know. I'll go over it with you. I mean, shit. All the regular suspects, that's going to be the kids. That's going to be there's 3 kids. There's Frank, Dean, and Nancy. There's the groundskeeper, Derga. And then Duke. Fortunately, he's a suspect. It does involve something that he would gain. But here's the thing: the 4 suspects that are close to the victim, and I'm going to throw the neighbors. We'll make it 6 because Mr. and Mrs. Birch live closest to the Ansley residence and could have seen her leave. They've all got proximity, but they don't got motive. Now the Duke's got motive, but he don't got proximity. The lawyer, he's got proximity, but he ain't got motive neither. And I'm not trying to implicate the Duke, but that seems like he's got the greatest reason to. Now I don't know. Well, who else would have done it? She might have had an estranged cousin. And there could have been someone staying at the house I'm not aware of. I'm not allowed to really touch this. I'm just giving you all the pertinent information.
They good kids. Her kids.
Yeah, they're pretty
Could
good.
be your kids.
Grew up here. They're not really kids anymore. They're mid-20s. One of them's probably 16 or 17. That'd be Nancy, the youngest. The boys are early and mid-20s.
None of them have any trouble with vices that make people do the wrong
No,
thing.
they're pretty quiet folks. Well-read. Just study magic.
Now, we can't discount the idea that the Duke paid one of those with opportunity
Well,
to
that's what
fulfill his motive.
Well, that's what I needed. See, because I don't think none of these people would have done it themselves, and that's the other layer. So not only are we trying to figure out who done it, we're trying to figure out who set it all up, right? Because I mean, if we come to find, and I mean, there's really 3 vagabonds that are on my list. There's drunk Larry. He couldn't make that shot to save his life, but he might know something. He ain't a suspect.
No chance.
There's that jester.
Real marksman.
That-
make
that little-
shot.
that-
Chester couldn't make that shot.
And Sewer Jim, he couldn't make that shot either. But
You know, it's a hard one. Really.
What about
Well,
the
who could if
birches?
If
Any
it's a matter
history,
of good shooting.
any history of marksmanship between the birches?
No, I don't think so. Mr. Birch knows how to use a longbow, but the dart that we recovered from the driver's throat was far too small for that.
You say a dart?
Oh, it's a bolt.
Bolt. Crossbow bolt.
Yes, sir. He holds it up. It's got like blood on it. It's, the tip is broken off.
I smell it.
It smells like blood.
That makes sense.
Whose blood?
The carriage driver's blood.
Shit.
I can tell.
Perhaps we can start-
Who pays you, Sheriff?
Duke.
Duke?
Yes, sir.
That's all the questions I've got for you at this time, Sheriff.
All right. Let me know if you need anything else.
Oh, shit.
Awful cooperative, just like the last two murderers. Just saying.
What was your relationship with the deceased sheriff?
The widow Ansley?
He was her sheriff.
Of course, the widow Ainsley.
Well,
Imbecile!
yeah, she was, I didn't really get called out there much. One time they had a party and some guests got a little rowdy. And I was at the party and she thanked me personally for getting rid of them rowdy guests. I think one of them was Drunk Larry in the Birches. But, yeah.
When was the first time you met the widow?
Well, I moved here with my pa when I was about 7.5 years old. My pa took a longbow, arrow to the chest, as one does, and he died honorably. I've been taking up that mantle since I was 16 or 17.
Irrelevant to the question at hand.
And I
Sheriff.
met her the first
When did you
time
meet
when I
the
was a little
widow?
kid. She came by and visited us. The widow Ansley really, she was the heart and soul of this town. She came by and she was one of the first people that welcomed my pa in here with open arms. She brought us a little basket of bread and some flowers and welcomed us in. She said she'd done it for everyone. I didn't really believe her at first, but I lived here long enough to see it happen. Shame that ain't going to continue no more.
Oh.
Well,
Interesting.
I'm sorry for your loss and the town's loss. Seemed like an upstanding member of the community.
Thank you, Lurch. I agree. It's really heinous.
Would you be able to get us a meeting with a lawyer?
Mr. Stallworth? Absolutely. He lives just up the road. You could probably go knock on his door.
Seems like we might as well trace her steps backwards first, then go from there.
All right. Well, let me know if you need anything. He gives you like a little rock. He just says, flip this 3 times and mine'll start pulling in my pocket whichever way you are.
Handy gadget.
Sheriff's got to have one.
All right, gang, let's go talk to this lawyer.
Okay. You guys walk up the road about a half mile. There's a very nice looking country house nestled in the foothills of the mountain. Smoke's coming from the chimney. Windows are, there's light coming from them. It's not quite dark, but it smells like they're cooking dinner or something. It's about 5 o'clock. And you walk up to the front porch. You can knock. Just a moment. And a nice cute lady opens the door and she says, "Well, how can I help you?"
When she opens the door, Scumbucket is like trying to look intimidating in the back behind Lurch. But as soon as he sees that it's just an old lady, he sort of loses the facade.
No, she's like a cute middle-aged woman.
Regardless, he loses it.
Of course. What can I do for you? I ain't never seen you folks before. Everything all right?
Here, on investigation.
I thought so. You want to talk to my husband?
If he's free, we'd like to. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, he's free, all right. He's pretty messed up about it. Hold on. If you just wait in the hallway for a second, I'll be right back. Sort of disappears.
Scumbucket whispers to Lurch. He says, "This guy's a lawyer, and we're supposed to believe he's emotionally compromised."
She comes
Very
back out.
astute.
She comes back out and he says, "Well, Yeah, he said you can come ask him whatever questions you want. He's pretty down, so try to go easy on him.
Scumbucket elbows Lurch when she says that discreetly.
Okay,
Yeah, he
you
gives
guys
you a
walk.
look.
You guys walk through the down the hallway and into the study.
Nice
There's a
place.
man. Oh, real nice, lawyer money.
It's definitely lawyer money. It's not like rich dad and
Yes.
lawyer money.
Yeah. Well, it's both. I mean, you got to learn how to be a lawyer somehow, right?
From your rich dad.
Yeah. What are you saying, Annie?
Just going to say, is he just making that money off of this town, or is he a lawyer for surrounding areas?
Well, it's where you get the family money from. It's a little bit of both. But yeah, he's like the lawman for all of the wealthy people in this town. So I mean, not the lawman, the lawyer, the esquire. And it says, Mr. John Stallworth, Esquire, on the door. The study's very dimly lit. It reeks of pipeweed. Looks like he's like a bottle on the ground next to him. He's slumped in this opulent chair behind this opulent desk. And he just looks really put out. Like he hasn't slept. He's been drinking for a few hours. All that's keeping him awake is the smoke. He says, "Hey, you're here to investigate, aren't you?"
Beg your pardon, Mr. Stallworth, but we are. We have a few questions for you.
Naturally. What are they? He drags on the pipe.
Side note, what's the lady who died's name?
They call her the Widow
Ansley.
Ansley.
Widow Ansley, okay. So you were the last one to see the Widow Ansley alive, correct?
Unfortunately, I was.
And how did that conversation go between you two?
It was very beneficial. I've been working with the Widow Ansley now for the last several months on a deal that would donate the land that she received on behalf of her husband's death back into the public for development. Miss Ansley said that she would develop the land upon receiving it. It was a promise to the community in general, but alas, an active naturalist, she fell prey to the tick bite sickness. Took the willpower out of her. She could barely walk. Had to put ramps in her house. I had to put ramps in her house 10 years ago. It was a whole thing. But she's near the end of shuffling off, and she felt very alone.
You didn't go to her children?
Well, her children live upstairs. She can't go up the stairs. She's relegated to the downstairs. Lately, there's been a little bit of distance with her children. She's not sure why, but perhaps she's committed some sort of faux pas, she fears. She doesn't know, but she's letting them grow and giving them space. And she does demand a large burden of care, so perhaps she's self-conscious about that. All of which she voiced during our time together. I'm not a therapist, I'm a lawyer, but, she's my client, and she's paying me by the hour to listen. Pulls on the pipe some more.
Did she seem concerned that night?
Not particularly. We just going through drafting the agreement, so as far as we were both aware, it was a good day. We really walked away, we were feeling positive, like we'd accomplished something. She did a good day with the children that day, too. There weren't any fights or anything like that.
This plan for her to give the land back to the public, had this been a plan for a long time, or is this something that she had recently come up with?
Well, we'd been drafting the agreement for several months, and she's known that she needed to do something with it. They inherited the parcel nearly a decade ago, but she, like I said, it got away from her. It's one of the last affairs the widow has unresolved. And so, well, we were thinking about it, that actually putting it in writing takes some time. That's why we were meeting together bi-monthly for the last several months, since last winter.
You said it was one of the last things she had unresolved, but is there anything else of note in her
No, her
affairs?
will is very thorough. It's an extension of her husband's will, which has already been partially executed. And that gave us the opportunity to review the clauses, and really most things are in order. But the land was received after Mr. Ansley's death, therefore it's not in the will. It needs to be drafted. Drafting takes time, energy, etc. But it was good, we just finished.
And she had the only copy, or have you got a copy?
Well, she had the only copy. She was going to sign it and return it to me. I was going to send it to a scribe and have him copy it. It was a draft, but it was the good draft, and it was the only draft we had. I can remember the clauses and write them back down, but with a premature death, it doesn't much matter. And from what I understand, the writ was taken from the wreckage. Interesting.
So now, instead of the land going to the public, it will be instead defaulting to go to our children.
I'd imagine it would stay in the family, yes.
These children, what do you think of them?
Well, I don't know. They're always a joy. It's familiar. I go to the parties that they have at the estate, various holidays, but they were good. They've been distant as of late. Not really sure the reason why, but I'd imagine watching their mother's slow and steady decline into immobility, just taking its toll on them. They've become withdrawn. Not the only one who's noticed.
It must be hard to see your mother's slow descent.
I can imagine so.
And at what time did she leave your manor?
About 9:30, almost nearing on 10 p.m. It was a late night, but we pushed through to the end to get it done. There was a storm, and I said she was more than welcome to stay. She said, no, it's only a few miles, and I said, okay. The carriage driver said it was no worries, and we parted ways on the porch just outside. I bid her good night, not knowing that I'd be the last person to talk to her. Feels wrong, doesn't it? I'm a lawyer. Should have been with the children or something. It's been hard.
Must be an eerie feeling.
Yes, it is. I feel cursed. Something.
Were you the only one in the house at the time of the meetings?
No. Susan was here too.
Just you two?
Mm-hmm. No children. We like money.
Well, then don't go into centipede farming.
Heard that, Lurch.
Well, I'm not really in the mood for levity, unfortunately, but I think... Do you have any more questions for me? Swigs the bottle of gin on his desk and starts to pack another bowl.
I want to look at his office, perception-wise.
I'm gonna roll you a perception check. It's just kind of a regular law office. Everything seems pretty nondescript.
There's no, empty crossbow rack on the wall.
No, nothing like that. He's got a few, hunting rifles, and, a few trophies of, mountain lion and boar and stuff, but...
Despicable. Classic lawyer.
Exactly. But otherwise, no, it's pretty mundane. We'll have to ask him to search the desk, but as far as your general vibe of the room goes, there's nothing off kilter.
What about him?
No, he just looks really sad. He said he felt cursed because, he's the last man to ever see this woman, and she just died on this horrible circumstance.
Is he in good shape? Physically fit?
Yeah. He's a little old, so he's not super good. He's not adventure level, but he's above average slightly just because he spends a lot of time hunting.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
We could talk to the kids.
Good luck.
Them fucking kids.
I'm working on trying to get their mother dressed.
Open casket?
Well, the viewing is tomorrow.
I recommend against
And the funeral probably the day after.
Y'all got an embalmer around
There's
here?
a man named Elmer. He's one of the best at the region, but he's a little preoccupied at the moment and can't make it until tomorrow.
Have we met Elmer? Is that from season 1?
Yeah.
Got it.
It's from the pilot.
I got nothing for this guy. Fucking scum-sucking rat bastard motherfucker. Obviously.
Obviously.
But
you guys leave peacefully unless you have anything else you want to do. You want to talk to his wife?
I want to wave goodbye to his wife.
Good luck with your mystery. So anyways, you guys, it's about 2 or 3 miles walk, 2 miles walk to the Ansley estate.
Trivial.
It's going to be about evening by the time you guys get there. It's about 7 o'clock. It's a big gated kind of manor complex. There's like a row of trees and a long carriageway. Big old country mountain house up on a hill. It's kind of surrounded by woods on one side and a mountain on the other. There's like a little quarter house kind of off distantly, and then there's like a can't really see any more than that from the entranceway. You guys just up to the house.
Yeah.
You guys walk up to the house. Do you just knock? You're gonna investigate the
Yeah.
land.
Yeah, I send out Zoe. Sniff
Okay.
around she's the smaller and faster of the two.
Mm-hmm.
To sniff around the grounds.
Okay. Okay, as long as you're still recording, Bot, I don't care. Yeah, that's you do well. She does well, rather. It's she doesn't really find like it as far as there's no like immediate evidence of wrongdoing. Like there's no blood, there's no crossbow oil. Like there's nothing really damning. It's just kind of a manner. Maybe she finds a few mice and eats them and is, "Thank you, Father, thank you. Oh, this is so much fun. The grass is so wet." And
What does it look
rolls
like when
around
she
in it.
eats the mice?
Yeah, it's like her mandibles open. And then she has an inner jaw.
Nice. Yeah, cool.
Sick.
That
Excellent,
happens.
Zoe. Return to me.
She returns.
I forgot about that.
"Thank you, Father. Thank you for the freedom and the wonders that come with. You're so kind to me."
Of course, my sweet. There's much freedom to be had, but first, we must settle this mystery.
voice sounds completely different.
The Chad centipede farmer.
So funny.
The centipede doesn't find anything. Are you gonna knock?
Yeah. And this time Scumbag is gonna look real fucking big right behind Lurch.
Okay. About 2 or 3 minutes goes by, and a little gnome in his suit pokes his head out. And he says, "Hello. What is your business here? You are unfamiliar to me.
Yes,
30 years
we've
I
been
kept
brought-
this manor.
We don't need your life story, gnome.
Well, I never seen yous before."
we've
Irrelevant
been brought-
to us. We are here to investigate a crime most foul, despicable crime, a murder.
The sheriff sent us.
Indeed. Gnome.
Okay, well, I don't know if the kids really want to see anybody right now.
Irrelevant with the preferences of children. A crime has occurred and we must get to the bottom of it.
They currently...
We will into the building.
Hold on. I'm sorry, sir. Will you excuse us for a moment?
Yes, you have
I'm
to
already
excuse
walking.
me too.
I'm already walking into the building.
See,
past
No,
the
you
we
wall.
can't.
need to
Don't.
address the way in which Cumbernauld just said gnome. That doesn't fit our brand. It doesn't fit our ethos. It is unacceptable and not okay.
I have no need for branding. My only allegiance is to the truth.
Cumbernauld,
It was pretty rude.
it's rude.
I did
And
not
irrelevant.
care for it.
It's unacceptable. And I'm sure everyone else agrees. You can't be throwing out gnomes, okay? You heard? Cumbernauld?
Very well. If it will keep you from wasting more of our time, keep you from distracting us as the trail of death grows colder by the second, then fine. I will refrain from referring to the gnome by his given name of gnome. Fine. I will refer to him simply as boy, as man, as fellow over there.
The door
Pathetic.
squeaked.
You have no stomach for this line of work.
The door squeaked open.
Scum bucket.
The door squeaks open while you're saying that, and you don't hear it, and the gnome's just been standing there the whole time. And he looks at you guys, and
Fine.
he clears his throat, and he says, anyways, they don't want to see anyone tonight. They got the news just this morning, so you're invited to come to the wake tomorrow. Hopefully, the embalmer can come overnight and dress the body.
What
Ow.
reason do they give for not wishing visitors upon themselves?
Their mother,
Perhaps a guilty conscience?
their mother has been murdered, and they don't want to talk to
And they
you
do not
guys.
wish to solve the murder of their mother?
They're processing. They're
What
people.
games do you play
This
with
happened
me,
today.
small fellow?
Scumbucket puts his hand on the door.
The gnome looks at you, and he looks a little worried.
And he says, "Listen, pal, we gotta talk to her kids tonight. Murder in the first 20. There's a 99% chance that you lose the suspect.
I don't understand
something like that.
that logic, but
What
look,
do
they
you
said no.
understand?
What do you guys want me to do? They're in charge of me. They paid for
No,
me to live here in this
I-
manor 30 years.
No,
I'm
I
sorry.
give you
And
the gnome
I expect
30
you-
gold.
he tries to close the
Yeah,
door.
no,
You're
no,
gonna. Oh,
buddy,
wow. You can't beat your strength check.
Please, I expect you to be easily physically overwhelmed while we barge into the manor and speak to the children against your and their will.
I expect to to avoid the need for any unpleasantness by simply giving you 30 gold right now.
He twists a little ring, and there's like a big old lightning bolt
God
shock
damn
that
it.
kind of cracks out of it.
Damn it.
It strikes you in the chest.
What?
What's
Dexterity
your face?
check?
Scumbucket. No,
Dexterity
it's nope,
check?
nope. He you feel pushed back. The door slams, and there's a you lose a hit point. There's like a scorch mark in your chest.
Yeah,
You had
Well,
a shirt
that
on,
all
it's, like,
checks
got a
out.
hole in it.
it's a nice
I
shirt.
pound on the door. I rap with my frail British fingers.
So you guys do have invitations to the wake? Like, they didn't say they don't want to talk to you.
We don't want to go to the wake. That's so disrespectful.
By the time the wake has woke,
Yes.
it will be far too late to follow the trail gone
So the
cold.
wake is public. The funeral isn't. I know it's usually the other way around, but they're just weird country people.
No, I think we need to
I
talk
wouldn't
to
have
people
known that
tonight.
was-
I mean, these are our prime suspects, right?
Yep,
we
they
can't,
said-
we can't give them 12 hours to cover their tracks.
Well, they're not letting you into their house.
I rap on the door and I say, "No, 30 gold. You can emancipate yourself of this horrible job." No.
I put my hand on Cumbernault's shoulder when he says no like that again.
I look at him and I'm like, giving him 30 gold. What's the big deal? And it's such a high-pitched rap.
Scumbucket
because my
shakes
fingers
his
are so
head.
bony.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk around the house a little bit, kind of discreetly.
Yeah.
I like
Okay.
that.
You flutter around the house. What's your...
An open window.
Not really.
Yeah.
The second floor windows are lit up. The first floor is pretty dark. It doesn't look like they have any of the sconces lit down there. Most of the light comes from upstairs.
I mean, the centipedes could help us out. They could look around if there was a way to get inside. That, you know, they're sneaky. It would just, if there was reason to suspect something, they could figure that out. And if there isn't, you know, if they don't instantly see something, then, you know, maybe we look for different leads.
I'll say that they're quiet, but sneaky is tough because Zoe is 2.5 feet long. So it's pretty hard for her to hide in a home, maybe in the woods somewhere. But in a house like this, it might be kind of hard for her to get around. I could have her go peek over our window on the second story.
Well, that's a place to start. Unless anyone else has any better ideas. I mean, I'm not sure what to do now.
All I've got at this point is physical violence, and I don't think that's the best mode of action.
All I have is emotional violence. Violence even more deadly than
Go
Mr.
and-
Scum's.
Go and desecrate the corpse.
You guys are free to do whatever you want to do in order to gain an audience with these people, but knocking on the front door and like you'll have to do some spying, recon, or force their hand in some sort of way.
Okay, I'll have Zoe peek over the windowsill and check out what it looks like.
Okay.
Zoe,
You
go. Give us
Yes,
the
Father.
information that we seek.
Yes, Father. I didn't use my good roll earlier, so I will apply it to this. And she skitters up the side of the house and peeks through a window. And she says, Father,
I see a man. He's sitting over a desk. He looks very sad. He's trying to write in a journal, but it doesn't look like he knows what to say.
Continue on to the next room.
Father, I see in the room a woman. She's 17 or so, and she's
A woman.
she's talking to who looks to be her brother in his early 20s, and well, they look very sad. And I can sort of hear what they're saying. And they're talking about whether or not Elmer's going to make it. He said he left, but he should have been here by now. And they're worried about why he's late. But it's probably just the ferry service, says the brother.
You said they're waiting for Elmer?
Yes.
Excellent. Anything else that they're saying?
They're saying that it's horrible, but it's all going to be all right, and that Mother should be dressed by the wake tomorrow. The girl, Father, she's worried about not getting any sleep. And I'm worried for her too, because, well, she needs to be the woman of the house now. She's got to front face and put her mother in the ground. Can you imagine having to do that at 17, fronting her? And the brother, he looks strained. He's trying to
more empathy than anyone in this party.
He's trying to be big, Father, but he's not. He's not up to it. He's crumpling under the weight of his own sadness. You know, like how that cousin of ours does.
Zoe, your empathy knows no bounds and makes me a proud father.
It is
Now,
only through your guidance that I can reach such highs.
believe me, however much I helped you grow, you'd helped me grow as a man tenfold.
I love you, Father.
Y'all want to, like, go in a private chat?
My heart swells with loves and affections for you, Father. May I return to the home?
Of course. I've got several rat carcasses here waiting.
Thank you. I shall feast upon your marble shoulders and the splendors that you provide. She slithers back into the basket.
I toss
Great.
in some rats carcasses.
You can hear her eating them. She's like purring. Or like vibrating her sinew together to make some sort of purring.
They're just waiting on the embalmer. They seem to be pretty distraught.
I'd be distraught too if I just killed my mama.
As would I.
We don't know that.
We
I
don't
mean,
know
there are
that.
plenty of people who
We
are
might
suspects.
That's true. That's true. There's 4 of them though, and they've got everything to gain, right?
Parcel of land, but I mean, it's not like they did anything with it while it was theirs, so
Yeah,
it's not a super strong motive.
the Duke has the strongest motive, yeah, and also the means to act on that motive. I mean, the Duke's got means. No, the Duke's got motive and opportunity. So I figure we go to the Duke, we rough him up, we get some answers.
Duke,
Maybe time.
the
maybe
Duke
time.
would have had a reason to. This is bad for him that she's dead because the land's not going to go to the people now. So he has the opposite of a motive, right?
Yeah, no, that's right.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Like, unless he didn't want the land to be public for some reason. He did give it away in the first place. The sheriff mentioned that he might have regretted his decision and maybe wanted it back, but he's probably going to get it either way. So
I think that's a great point from Ms. Flit. I figure we better inspect the land in question.
Wait, what if there were like crazy reserves of minerals, or what if they hid a body there?
Or perhaps an ancient zombie burial ground.
Oh, they could be doing all
You
sorts
never
of
know.
weird
You
rituals.
never know. There's 2
Hey,
plots of land, as I understand.
Yes.
it's dark outside.
I figure we split up 2 and 2 and inspect both plots of land. We meet up at the inn.
It's like it was like 2 separate plots that became one, and so like the end of the developed estate is just the start of their like land they never did anything with.
Got it.
They always said that millipede farmers were smart, but you just proved it.
You flatter me. Down
You
in
guys
the
see a
swamp,
lantern.
we see the same thing about you folk.
You see a
A
lantern
lantern.
starting to come towards you from the corner. Yeah, the sun's been setting this whole time, and it's pretty much dusky, maybe even full dark. And the lantern gets bigger, and it's this big kind of like half-orc looking groundskeeper guy. He's got really long hair.
How big is he?
Big. He's like 7.5 feet tall, pretty wide.
How big?
255 pounds.
At 7'2"?
Yeah, he's pretty skinny, I guess.
He's
wouldn't he
pretty
be?
lean, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's.
But
I'm
he's
sure
like
cut.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's a
All right.
groundskeeper. He's not like a warmonger.
Scumbucket gets big, gets wide.
Oh, hey, I couldn't help but notice you were, well, I'm sorry the kids don't want to talk to you. I mean, I hope you can understand. I can help you answer whatever questions you need. I figured you're here for a good purpose.
Yes. I was curious about one thing in particular.
And what's that?
What would you say was the status of the relationship between the widow Ansley and her children
Oh,
in
well,
the
it was
last few
great.
months?
I mean, they have their highs and their lows. But it was good. They loved their mother, just like anyone else would. It was good. I think.
My mother was a cold-blooded son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. But regardless, it was. Well, they were good. They were on the same page. It seemed like they'd all clicked. They weren't as dependent on one another. Maybe that fostered a little bit of distance, but I'm just a groundskeeper, so I don't really know.
So you wouldn't say that the widow Ansley's condition and the fact that the children had to care for her didn't weigh on them?
Well, it was the carriage driver who did a lot of the caretaking, at least as far as I'm aware, but of course it wore on them. I mean, having to watch their mother amble around the house all tick-bitten up and sick and starting to lose her damn mind. I mean, yeah, it's not a pretty sight that'll wear on you.
Got all tick-bit, huh?
Mm-hmm. It's a real shame. She would have probably done a lot with that land. It would have been a good city park, maybe a road connecting us to the next town over.
You say that the carriage driver was taking care of her?
He did a lot of the day-to-day. He lived downstairs with her in a little add-on. He and I used to share the quarter house. I'm really messed up about him leaving. Him and I have been running this place for nearly 30 years with that little gnome. Yeah, no, it was hard. He moved out of the quarter house to be in the downstairs, take better care of her. But good man.
And what would you say he and the widow Ansley's relationship was like?
Well, they were close, weren't they? They cared for each other. They had each other's backs.
I see. And do you think that their relationship was purely professional?
I do. What do you mean? How could it be unprofessional, I guess?
Well, when you spend that much time with somebody and they care for you, sometimes feelings can develop.
Oh, no. Stevenson had a wife. He sent half his earnings back to his family. I don't think he'd ever do anything like that. Good man.
Does his wife live in town?
No, they live in the next town over.
Has she been informed that her husband was killed?
Mm-hmm. They're shipping the body back now. Poor lady.
Dreadful shame.
Yep, a double murder in a place like this. Can you imagine?
Really,
I
I
wonder
can't.
who would have the stomach for it. Y'all
I don't
seem like
know.
good folks.
I don't know. But if you come back tomorrow, them kids will talk to you. If you need my help searching the grounds, I can walk you all around. I know every corner of this place, and couldn't help but hear as he was walking up. I don't think there's nothing valuable on this land. It's good for hunting. Lawyer hunts on it a lot, but hey, that's just life. Sometimes he brings his friends. It's a good time. There's a good boar and deer population. Get really big. It's a good parcel. It's not worth a double murder for, but it's a good parcel.
So
Go ahead.
there were a lot of folks hunting on the land. It makes me wonder. I mean, you had to be pretty good with a crossbow to do that horrible thing, and I wonder if. I mean, I don't know why any of the hunters would do that, but I struggle to think of who else could.
Beats me.
Do you know anyone who was a real sharpshooter in these parts?
Well, you'll find out eventually, but I'm a pretty good crack shot myself.
Just because I go hunting with them lawyers and them guys on that land, you know, we're all pretty good at it. It's how you make a living around here. Anyone who doesn't buy their food is probably a pretty damn good shot. Now, hit a moving target from 30 feet. It ain't easy, but it ain't that hard if you know how to shoot in the first place. Trouble is, you only got one shot. And so it's either luck or skill in that regard. And that's where I'm stumped. So that's a good shot right through a man's neck. One of the smallest areas on the body to hit.
Who would you say is the best shot in town?
Probably that there lawyer. I'm coming a cool second. Got lucky once with the wind and beat him in a little target shooting contest, but I'm more of a gunman myself. I only use a crossbow when we're hunting packs, that way I don't scare everything else away.
So the lawyer's better with a crossbow?
Depends on the day, but I'd usually give it to him.
Well, that doesn't mean he did it. I mean, but that's not...
No, it sure done. There's a chance that did it just wasn't from around here. Got paid to do it by one of the people that lives here. I think that's the most likely. I think figuring out who could do something like that's the real question. And I think once you find that thread, the rest ought to come undone. I mean, we're all looking for answers here. This ain't easy.
I can't imagine how difficult it must have been for you to lose an employer and a friend.
Yeah. Well, I've been taking a long walk today. I ain't done no work. Just processing.
Makes sense. You do what you need to do.
Mm-hmm. Only thing we can do.
Thank you for your help.
Of course. Let me know if you need anything. I live in that quarter house over there. He turns back into the now complete darkness, and you see the little lantern light disappear. Closes the door distantly.
I think maybe it was a hired hand from out of town. I can think of one person in town who'd have the means and the connections to hire someone like that. And he's sitting up on that manor on top of the hill now. The Duke.
Does sound like the sort of thing. I mean, at least we could go talk to him.
It's the best course of action.
It'll take you until about 10:30 p.m. to reach the Duke's house. It's sort of a gamble on whether or not you'd be able to be let in that late without an appointment, considering he's never met you before in his life. But at the same time, you're more than welcome to try.
Maybe just take a beat, sleep for the night.
Perhaps we could go use the restroom and then pound down the Duke's door in the morning.
Splendid.
That's
Balls
fine. Sleep at the inn. You have your per diem. It doesn't really matter. Wake up the next morning. Unless you want to talk to anyone at the inn. Pretty empty when you guys get back.
Does everyone in town know what happened?
Yeah.
Scumbucket eats a lot of food before he goes to bed.
Absolutely. Good night's sleep. Everyone wakes up well rested. The wake, publicly, is scheduled for noon. You can eat breakfast in the bar. It's very good. You can go visit the Duke. Palace office hours are 10 to 3.
I think we gotta bust the Duke's balls.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. Guys walk about 2 miles to the palace. It's built on a mountain. It looks very nice. Very good. Katarian white granite, brickwork. Not a moat or anything like that, but it's well lived in. There's a page standing atop the palace steps waiting to greet you. And he says, can I help you today? What's up? How are you doing? Welcome to the Duke.
We're
Welcome
investigating
to
the
the
murder
Duke.
of the widow Ansley. We'd like to speak to the Duke on behalf of the sheriff.
Okay. Would you mind waiting here for a second?
Yes.
All right. He's gone for about 10 minutes. He comes back and he says, the Duke has postponed his matter. Please me to his study. And you follow him to the study.
And
I want to look around on the way to study. What do I see?
regular kind of it's like, medieval government building. There's like scribes, there's like a library, there's like people taking care of the plants and livestock and stuff on the actual campus, for lack of a better word.
An armory?
Yeah. There's an armory. There's like sort of a garrison that lives here. There's a quarter house adjacent to the main kind of castle.
I want to slink off when the page isn't looking.
Interesting.
Well, you would notice, wouldn't you?
Yeah, there's just like,
I'm pretty
good. I'll roll. Yeah, it's your dex, so you're pretty good at this exact sort of thing.
Good for your gut health.
You're the two most recent rolls. You go to sneak away, and he says, "Hey, sir, I'm gonna. You can ask the Duke for permission to visit these areas, but I'd really rather we just go to the main office, if that's okay. That is the nature of your appointment, after all."
I'm gonna keep walking for like 5 seconds after he starts talking.
Sir!
And see what he does.
Sir!
I turn a corner.
Hey, no, guys, stop. I can't.
Wait,
I don't want to lose my job today. And
hold on. Can I say when that guy before that guy runs after, while that guy's just yelling at him, can I say,
do you have any idea who that is that you're tormenting with thine jabs?
I'm not losing my job today. And he says, hold on. Right,
what's his? I'm going to roll my my insight for his biggest, deepest, darkest, worst insecurity.
Yes.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't know how much of a roll that is, as much as it's an ability that I have.
He just like doesn't want to lose his job. I mean, he's like.
I can work with that.
If you're so concerned with your pathetic job, what do you think will happen to you when your boss finds out that you have stood against Scumbucket of the Swamplands?
Sir, come back! I'm sorry. You might be right, but the
you will live to rue this day, peon.
Hey, guards! We got a walker. I don't know these guys.
Scumbucket, maybe you can come back. We'll just talk to the Duke. I think he just got lost. He gets disoriented sometimes. Just back over here, buddy.
We're going this way, right?
No.
Sir, I've been shouting at you. We're going this way.
No,
Come on.
He can't hear very well.
I sign to Lurch.
I pretend to sign back.
Yeah, it's gibberish for sure.
Yeah, he. Sorry, it was a little misunderstanding. We'll follow you now.
I smile at the
Shakes his
page
head.
and I gesture for him to lead the way.
And he looks at you.
And then I do it again.
He looks at you,
No.
Cumbernauld, and he says, "See, come on, he's just a weirdo. I can't have freaks like that wandering around. He's not that important. Why are you trying to psych me out?
I'm
You don't
sorry.
wish to have freaks in your building. Why are you here?
It's literally by public obligation.
I'm calling
And
you
guys,
a freak.
You guys
Alright,
you guys arrive at the office, and he says,
Let's all be
"Yeah, the Duke will have you now. Go on in."
Wait, as I walk in, I just put my hand on the guy's shoulder.
The page's
page.
shoulder.
And I'm like, and I say, fuck, no, I got nothing here. I don't know. Like, I'm not mad that he called me a freak. I feel like I should say something about that. But
Please don't touch me. Anyways,
it seems so uncalled for to call someone who's hard of hearing a freak. But I don't know what to say to this guy.
Little piece of shit's a cunt.
Yeah. I put my hand on his shoulder and I call him a cunt.
He looks scared and he walks away.
Yeah, okay.
Sounds about right.
Wait,
Yeah.
come back,
The
boy.
door closes and you're in the study with the Duke.
I pull
Was he
my
giving-
gun out and
The Duke said.
I
the
put
Duke-
it back.
The Duke says, "Was he giving you any trouble?"
An immense
No.
amount of trouble. He was a real cunt, and I do not use that word lightly.
5-star
You used
review
it
for
twice
that-
since you've been
for
in
that
here,
one.
sir.
And that should be a testament to the wretched behavior of your employee.
Now, is that 5 stars out of 5 stars or 5 stars out of 10 stars?
No, that's 5 stars out of 5 stars. He did a great job. Deserves his job. Deserves to get paid.
What
Oh,
game
yeah.
are you playing,
I'll get
scumbag?
him a free lunch. He's a good kid.
Yeah.
Y'all want some whiskey?
You got Vine wine?
Probably. And he snaps his fingers.
You have
and
any
they-
creme de menthe?
Oh yeah, but oh man, it's a little early for that. I start with whiskey. I don't get to the creme du ferment till
I
around,
care not for what you do, Duke. I care only for what I
Yeah,
wish.
You heard the man, didn't you?
Creme de
I heard the
menthe.
man.
Slave,
A
serving.
different page comes out with your drinks. You get your creme. Gets his whiskey.
I have my Vine wine. Vine wine is a great swamp delicacy. If that wasn't
course.
obvious, yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
I'm so excited for this swamp one shot. Too.
Family reunion.
I know they're gonna be all the NPCs. It's gonna be hilarious. I
It's
can't
gonna be
wait.
exactly what we expect it to be.
It's gonna be good, guys. It's gonna be subversive. Okay, think Rian Johnson's Star Wars rather than J.J. Abrams.
Duke says,
All right.
now that we're seen to, I suppose you all want to have a conversation. He smiles.
Yes, we would.
Murderer.
No.
I know there's
No.
one in town. Are you trying to accuse me?
No. He's not.
I ain't
That's why we're
trying
here.
nothing, Duke. I've seen your kind before. You get a little bit of power and it goes straight to your tiny head, and you run wild with it. You think you want this land. No. Oh, I can't have it because she's alive.
Well, you
Bucket,
know
you
I
are
was-
I'll kill
speaking
it.
to a man of class.
I was lined up
Watch your
to.
tongue.
I just ignore it. It ain't worth reprimanding. Those swamp kids, you can't set them straight. They don't know. They don't know nothing. But
Hey,
here,
watch your mouth, Duke. Before
I
you
don't
talk
have to do
about
that. This is my
guppies like
palace.
that. This is your palace, huh? I wipe my ass with your palace, Duke.
Despicable conduct from you, scumbucket. I do a stage slap on him where I like pretend to slap him
Yeah.
and then just clap my hand.
Right. And Scumbucket doesn't really know what's going on, but he plays it off as if it just didn't hurt him because it didn't.
Okay,
Yeah,
everybody,
well-
let's calm down.
y'all
Yes,
are
let's try and
investigators. Y'all are the independent investigated body mandated by statute to oversee. Oh man, it's a little
This is what you
unprofessional.
get
but
for mandated by statute.
I suppose I can't argue with that logic. She's the smartest one in the whole room.
Scumbucket stalks over to the door and just looks big and stares at the Duke.
He gives you a welcoming nod. You can sit down if you want. I don't bite.
And move.
But anyways,
Doesn't move a muscle.
now
Apologies, Duke.
here's my problem with this is that I was set up to obtain that land, and I do want that land. I gave it to the widow Ainsley as a gesture of good faith, and it wasn't developed. She gives it back. That works out. Why would I do anything? And I do mean anything to change the course of fate, as it were. Now, sure, I could have hired Killer, sit up on that ridge, but at the same time, that would require a network of spies for me to know her current whereabouts. I was at the philanthropy ball for the Southern Woodlands that night. There are many people who can attest to seeing me there. I gave a rousing speech around cocktail hour to the crowd, and we had a lovely time. Now, of course, I have motive, but every royal man has motives because we make the decisions. There's a motive for everything. And by that logic, maybe every king is a murderer, but I'm not. And if I am, I certainly would have no good cause to murder the widow Ainsley.
Scumbucket spits on the ground.
He also spits on the ground.
Damn. That's a fucking power move for sure. Scumbucket
That
doesn't
is
know
a
what to do
power
with
move.
that.
Holy shit.
Fuck, man.
God damn, that's
Rich
so
man's
cool.
house, there's
Scumbucket-
nowhere to spit but his face.
Scumbucket is visibly shaken by that, but recovers quickly. Jesus, man. I Joe am shook up by
Can you imagine doing that in real life?
No,
God damn.
I seriously
Holy
can't. If I was like, if someone said something that disgusted me and I fucking spat on the floor in their house and they just did the same fucking thing.
I'm gonna keep that one in my back pocket for the next time you come over, Joe. You're always spitting on the floor of my house.
It's a powerful statement. Jesus, man.
So that kind of hangs in the air for a moment.
Yeah, straight up. Fuck.
Duke, thank you, first of all, for inviting us into your home and allowing us to question you.
Well, thank you for your courtesy and good faith.
We're really, right now, we're not trying to accuse anybody, although that may not be the impression some of our party members are getting off.
I mean, you are an investigator. I'd be shook up if you wasn't trying to accuse somebody, but I see where you're coming from.
Right now, we're just gathering information. We're not trying to accuse anybody. So,
Of course.
What was the relationship between you and this widow Ansley? Why did you gift her this land in the first place?
Well, I first met Sir Ansley. He was a knight here for about 10 years. About 10 years ago, there was a bit of a dispute. The next town over and I. Well, you know, it was over a nice vein of copper. It's pretty scarce here. Most of it's been eroded or mined away. My knight, Sir Ansley, and they put forward their knight, Sir What's-His-Face. And you know, boy, Sir What's-His-Face was kind of an evil bastard. It was a duel. He didn't have to kill Sir Ansley, but he did. Tried to say it was an accident. Poor feller looked a bit shaken up by it, but at the same time, feller knows what he does if he trains to fight, so probably ain't too much of an accident. And that shook me up. I was racked with guilt. I had this, large swath of land from when the war broke, and, we parted it all up, and I decided to donate it to the widow Ansley. She was a philanthropist. She loved nature. I figured she could build it up into a nice park and give her something to do, take care of them. It's good land. I don't need to buy food at the market. The groundskeeper hunts for them. It's my way of taking care of the family. I wasn't upset that they didn't develop it, but just the same, I ain't angry about having it back.
That's very big of you.
I was really
Give her
close
the
to her
land.
husband.
That must have been a hard loss.
It was. Court still ain't recovered.
So why do you think
killed her?
I don't know. Now, a lot of people are probably going to think it's that lawyer, Mr. Stallworth. But what I know about Mr. Stallworth is that he strikes me as a bit of a classy feller, and I know because I helped him and the widow Ansley. I oversaw them drafting the agreements. They were visiting the palace regularly. There ain't no way he would have killed her. He had nothing to do with it. She was his wealthiest client. Why would he do that? The only reason it's suspicious is because he's the last person to have seen her, and frankly, I think he's the only man in this town who could make that shot.
Sounds like sort of a leading response to the question, wherein you want us to think that you're ruling someone out, but actually
No.
you're suggesting that we should follow them closely as if to reduce the suspicion that has fallen upon yourself.
No, it's nothing like that. Like I said, I got an alibi. And I love the widow Ansley. I care for that family, and they're the second wealthiest in this town after me. Ain't no reason I'd go coming after them in cold blood.
No
Now-
reason for the first richest family in the town to come after the second richest family in the town?
Now, what I will say, this feller, maybe you will change the world one day, kid, but you got it all wrong. I think the third richest family would go for the second. But why would the first punch down? They stand to lose too much. There ain't enough for me to gain. I was already going to gain what people would think I would gain. It don't make no sense. Now, the Birches, near and parcel, they don't want people coming through. They could be off-put, but now that's a weak motive. They've got proximity, but I know the Birches. They're the third richest family in town, and well, we've
Not
been going.
anymore. First richest, second richest family these
Well,
days.
the children inherited the money, but I see your point. And the thing about the Birches is that we've all been going to galas together for decades. So I don't think they do it either. We all know each other. We're like a family.
How about this? I can't help thinking about that fella who killed Sir Ainsley, Mr. What's-His-Face. What was his favorite weapon?
Longsword.
And You don't think the neighboring town would send somebody over to muck up your affairs? I mean,
Why would they do that?
if they're having disputes over copper that leaves people dead, they seem ready to cause problems.
Ma'am, that dispute was 10 years ago and we lost. They've got a mine on that copper vein right now as we speak. There's been chipping away at it. Why would they try to get anything more? It was awful. The neighbor and Duke and I agreed we ain't never going to treat each other like that again because I lost a good night. And this town bears that scar still, even a decade after it passed. I still go pay my respects on the anniversary of his death. He's buried in the royal courtyard. Sorry, royal cemetery.
Tell me, Duke, anything special about the land the widow Ansley was fixing to parcel out?
Connects pretty easy to the next town over. Different town than the one the Bad Knight's from. That's the town on the right. I'm talking about it would connect the town on the left.
Naturally. That's it?
As far as I'm concerned.
No veins of gold.
No,
I know you was Dukes like you.
Well, I prospected it before I gave it away to make sure I wasn't screwing myself over giving away something way too nice. Now, it's hard to put value on a man's life, and I probably would have given her the land had it had a metal vein on it anyways.
I'm sure.
Helps the town. But I did have it prospected prior to giving it up, and I can tell you with utter certainty that there are no anomalies present on that parcel. It's simply a geographic convenience.
Wonder if that geographic convenience is, well, worth trouble.
Hard for me to say. It ain't worth my trouble. I would never have killed the widow.
Why do you think the Ansley family never developed the land?
Well, it was the tick bite sickness, wasn't it?
Morgellons
The
disease.
3 children were too busy.
Lyme's disease.
About the kids, he says, those children are, well, they're affections, they come and they go, but they're good kids. I met them enough times. They're always a little withdrawn when we go to the galas and such, but that's all it is.
Who else attends these galas, Duke?
I pretty much listed everyone.
Everyone?
The
Really?
lawyer, the Birches, the Ansleys, me and my
that's
court.
everyone?
Sometimes the sheriff
The
comes.
rich folk of the town? That's
Yeah.
everyone? Duke?
That's all the wealthy folks.
All the wealthy folks is everyone. Typical.
Everyone in my
Typical
circle.
Dukes.
I
Scumbucket
keep
spits again.
He just ignores it. I keep good company. You go door to door, you ask these folks how they're doing. They'll tell you. They'll tell you they're doing well. I don't need to hear your shit. You don't know what you're talking about. Now, anyways, do you guys have any more questions for me?
Duke when I see one, Duke.
You'll
My
have to
whiskey's
forgive him.
about done. I got a wake to go to in an hour or so. Y'all gonna be in attendance?
We will. Just
Of course.
quickly before you must leave. Did you know the children at all? The Ansley children.
Yeah, a little bit.
Were you aware of the state of the relationship between the widow Ansley and her children in the previous months?
Not really, no. Hadn't been galas in a while. I think we did have one, but the kids didn't come for some reason. That's pretty much it.
I see.
I'm sure they would have come if they'd known it was the last one. But
Yes, hindsight is often things are so obvious.
well,
We centipede farmers know that better than most.
yeah, I'm sure you do. Farming will learn you harsh.
Scumbucket nods to that.
He stands up.
Scumbucket holds the door open for everyone to leave.
Thank you all for your time. Feel free to come back if you have any questions or you need resources to continue your investigation. I'm more than happy to provide.
After everyone's walked out of the room, Scumbucket looks at the Duke and he says, "You folk are all the same." And he closes the door and leaves.
He says, "You think you're going to change the world, kid? Grow up." And the door closes.
I take a shit in the hallway on the way out. Fuck that guy, man. Unbelievable.
There's a different page. When you guys get back, it's just oh, you're the guys that Ronnie told me to meet? Yeah, come on. I'm supposed to walk you off.
Ronnie was that last son of a bitch.
Yeah.
You tell Ronnie to get bent. And I walk out.
You know, the saying, a mouth like a millipede farmer has never been more clear to me than now.
Jeez Louise.
You guys want to go to the wake?
Yeah.
That was sense.
Put on your. Well, you don't really have a change of clothes. You just
I don't change my clothes because I'm already wearing a suit.
probably
I actively dishevel my clothes.
makes sense. You guys spend about an hour walking. You walk up to the manor. You see the 3 Ansley children, Nancy, Dean, and Frank. And you see Girda, the groundskeeper. You see the Birches, who you haven't met. They're an old couple, in their mid-60s, about the same age as the widow Ansley. And you see Stallworth. There's random townspeople as well, sort of milling about in various cliques. Laborers, maybe a few business owners, the bartender, sheriff. Everyone's kind of showing out. This woman was very important.
Yeah. I say to Lurch, these kind of funerals sicken me, Blick. In the swamp, when the time comes, we just push your body back into the swamp. The swamp giveth, the swamp taketh away.
That's a
The
poetic
whole
beauty to that.
embalming process, these open casket funerals, it's unnatural, Lurch. And
It
makes
is.
me
It's a very
sick.
popular opinion these days.
My will is one sentence. Feed my body to Zoe Mirabella. Quite
God,
simple.
Lurch,
Damn it.
heard that, and I swear to God, I swear to you, if it's within my power and within my responsibility, I will make that happen.
Father,
Is it-
when the pendulum swings down, I shall be there to devour you, even as the fires devour me, devouring you.
That gives me great peace, knowing I shall live on in you, my children.
I love you, Father.
I tell you what, Lurch, hey, you feed me to Zoe Mirabella. Body's not gonna make it back to the swamp. It's gotta go somewhere. I know I don't want you pumping me full of chemicals, putting me on display.
So
Just feed
speaking
me
of
to those 2 fine beasts you carry with you.
Okay, I will. Thank you, and I'm sure they'll appreciate it. You shall live on in them.
Yeah.
We would gladly devour the spearman, Father. Gladly. He would taste of the peat from whence he came.
Speaking of
That's true.
body pumped full of chemicals on display, there's a flower garden adjacent to the right wall of the house. And in that flower garden is a little table, and it's the widow with the open casket. She's all embalmed and set. There's a scarf, around her neck. She looks very, very, very well done. I mean, Elmer's not a bad embalmer. There's a reason they called him to travel like 100 miles.
Are there people at the body now?
Yes. The children are standing by it, and
Yeah.
the various townspeople are sort of walking by to pay their respects. There's not really a line. It seems very informal. The gnome is serving punch. There's hors d'oeuvres.
I want to get some punch from the gnome, and I'm gonna.
Oh, I remember you.
I'm gonna pat my chest while I accept my punch.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
I squint my eyes at him.
Let me know if you need anything.
But then I smile and I walk away.
As an aside to the group, say, one thing that I was thinking about is that the lawyer was saying that the widow Ansley and the children had such a strained relationship, and she was barely seeing them anymore. And then the groundskeeper was telling us that everything was fine. So, and they both apparently knew her quite well. Seemed to be some inconsistent information there.
Wonder why there would be that inconsistency. Who do you think would tell the truth? Or do you
Certainly
think
not a
they're
lawyer.
being fed different information?
I mean, on the one hand, we've got a couple of blue-collar workers, and on the other hand, we have a cold-blooded lawyer. My money is that the lawyer is a liar.
Perhaps your groundskeeper was a lover scorned. Phyllis,
Perhaps.
his relationship with the carriage driver.
Let me go talk to this groundskeeper.
Flit,
Yeah.
you feel a wave of magic with probing intent sort of pass over you.
There's no obvious spells, no obvious source. You just feel it.
Detect magic.
I mean, you sort of already did.
Oh, I'm trying to feel out for the source. I'm rolling to get more information.
It is coming from two sides, actually. So it comes from the area by the casket, where the people are standing and visiting the widow's body. And then it also comes from sort of like off to the side where there's just people hanging out and milling about. There is who you're familiar with is the attorney and the groundskeeper and the attorney's wife.
What do I
Everyone else
detect
is town's
of
person.
the alignment, the magic? Like, is the caster morally good?
You're not sure. Probably not. Because most morally good people will say, hey, I'm going to cast this spell, right? So,
Sure, yeah.
like, this is not magic that you consented to. And it also passed over some of your party members. And specifically, in Scumbucket and Lurch, there's a bit of that magic still sort of present.
Can I roll to detect it?
Are you magical?
Scumbucket has been exposed to magic, so he has a capability of detecting it, if nothing else, right?
You're not aware of this.
Okay.
This is currently happening in Flit's head.
Yeah.
But you're not aware of anything wrong with you. There's nothing, no effect that you can discern.
Okay. I would say there's a possibility if the user was particularly sloppy to Scumbucket to detect it. In his time doing what he has done in his previous life, he's been exposed to magic in that way.
No, I buy it.
But he does not cast any magic.
It doesn't. You can't. You're
not that sloppy anyway.
Well, this is highly suspect. Are there any other magic users in the crowd? Anyone I know is a magic user.
No. The sheriff said that the kids studied magic. And you can imagine most people can do a little bit of magic, you know, just like a cantrip or two, like some sparks. But no one's like a wizard or anything like that.
See.
Why would... This is just sort of a social knowledge thing that Scumbucket might have that I don't. Why would they study magic? Is there prestige in it? Or is it just a hobby for rich people to do?
Hobby, prestige, like you don't really... You're kind of taken care of, like you don't have to produce material benefit. So it's kind of like that research class of like Renaissance era scientists where they were just wealthy enough to pursue something that is interesting and rewarding and undiscovered. And so the fame comes from finding new spells in this old language and deciphering them.
Right. Very cool. Makes sense. It would be a rare occurrence for not well-to-do people to do magic. Yeah.
Yes.
So the magic is coming from two sides, and some of it's coming from by the casket. And see, we know that the kids would have the ability to cast it. We don't know who else would have the ability to cast it. I am going to detect emotions through the crowd.
That's a big spell. It's a lot of people.
Yeah, but...
Okay, so you've done two spells back to back. Does anyone else want to do anything, or do you just want to let Flit figure this out?
I'm gonna go talk to the groundskeeper.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. We had that thread pinned. Okay. You're walking over to the groundskeeper while all this is happening. He says, "Oh, hey! I remember you from yesterday. What can I do for you?"
Oh, nothing. Just here to pay my respects.
Oh, of course. There's a bit of a
what
line.
can you tell me about the widow?
What do you mean? I already...
Quite the beauty, I can see. Based on her corpse, Jesus.
Yeah, she looked real good for her age.
How old is this groundskeeper compared to the widow?
He is of about 45 years of age, so 25 years-ish. 25 years younger than the widow.
Do orcs live longer or the same as humans?
About the same, on the shorter end.
And the widow was a human.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's cut the crap. Ace, I know you and the widow had a thing going on. I knew there was something between the two of you.
The attorney walks away.
The attorney, I was trying to talk to the groundskeeper.
I know, the groundskeeper was talking to the attorney, and you came into their conversation, and the attorney's now walked away while the groundskeeper was talking to you.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
And he says, I don't know what you mean. I think maybe the carriage driver, but I don't think he'd do nothing like that either. I think the widow was celibate. Her legs barely worked. She had a lot of other concerns.
Between you and me, Slick, I was just trying to get rid of the lizard man.
Oh, I like John. He's a good guy.
Shit.
We talk about shooting.
Yeah? What do you shoot?
I told you what I shoot. I shoot guns when I'm out to kill a single target, and when I'm hunting in groups, I shoot crossbows so I don't scare the wildlife away. Talked about this yesterday.
Yeah. And you're pretty good, eh, Slick?
Good enough.
Just like the lawyer over there, huh?
I've been feeding this family since I got here.
Yeah. Feel entitled to anything?
No, I mean,
Slick?
the gnome is the gnome prepares the animals and skins and processes them, but I bring the gnome the animals in the first place.
The gnome? You've been working together 30 years, you still call him the gnome?
Well, it's a class thing. I know his name. I really respect Sir Jonathan Peters, but you know what?
Yeah?
People don't like it when you call gnomes by their names. And
Yeah, you might as well be calling him a goddamn jinker.
Oh, hey, buddy.
Throwing gnome out there like
down. Jesus Christ.
Hey, listen, bud.
Hey, you listen.
All right, Flit. As this is happening, you cast your detect emotion spell. The groundskeepers, it's an AOE, right? So,
Yes.
the actions of your companion Scumbucket kind of riling up two people. That is all you're able to detect with the emotions, because their feelings are so strong and awkward and weird that it obscures your ability to detect anything beyond. Also roll 1, so it's not like getting rid of them will improve your odds.
Yeah, I know.
Perhaps we could go.
Oh,
try to
I have
assess.
told everyone about the magic.
Yeah, I imagine. Do you have anything else you want to? Do you have anything else you want to talk to the groundskeeper about?
I just wanna touch him, sort of aggressively, but my ulterior motive is to attempt to see if he's a magical creature in some way, if he's emanating magic.
So you're not you just touch him. You just touch him. It's not he's a person. You just touch him. You just reach out and touch him. Feels warm. He's good. He's alive. It's like
I got my eyes on you, pal.
I'd imagine you would, Mr. Investigator. Let me know if you need anything.
I forgot how much taller he was than me.
Either way,
I was imagining that scene in a really different context.
you guys, you guys reconvene now. If we wanna talk strategy, huddle up.
Maybe we can assess the emotional state of the children the old-fashioned way. Talking to them.
Talking to him?
I could defile the corpse.
No.
Let's not open with that.
It's already been defiled by that there embalmer. No harm, no foul. Can't put that in the swamp. Not with all those chemicals in it, I tell you what.
It's their strange customs, but we have to respect them.
All right. You're right. Now I know what they mean when they say the disposition of a centipede farmer.
God damn.
We're an amenable folk.
Indeed you are. And patient too. I tell you what.
You gotta be patient when you're waiting 6 fortnights just for one brood to hatch.
6 fortnight? My God.
You wouldn't believe it.
All right. Scumbucket pats Lurch on the shoulder.
Ow.
Okay. Guys, get in line to go view the body.
Yeah.
Finally, Jesus Christ! Holy fuck!
owner of the sawmill, who has no ties to this whatsoever, just is like saying, you know, oh, I wasn't very close to your mom, but it really is a shame what happened, and I hope these folks behind me can get to the bottom of this. And they say, thank you. I do too. And then it's you guys, and you get to see the widow's body. You have Dean, Frank, and Nancy all in their funeral clothes, you know, veils, dark suits, and the oldest. What is it? What's the oldest Hardy Boy, Frank or Dean? I think Frank. He says,
Yeah.
He says,
Definitely Frank.
According to
He's
my
definitely
notes, it's
the
Frank.
oldest Hardy Boy.
He says,
Frank.
he says, thank you for. I'm sorry that we couldn't see you yesterday, but I really appreciate you showing up and paying your respects here. If you'd like to talk after the wake, simply stick around.
I think that would be a good idea.
Excellent. Thank you. She was a good woman,
And she would appreciate the fact that such noble folks are here to seek justice on her behalf. I thank you for that as well.
Bucket rubs his chest unconsciously.
sorry about the gnome. He's a bit testy when the sun goes down, but he's basically family.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Barely felt it. Barely.
Yes, he's a good
felt
he's a
it.
good gnome. I'm sorry if he did, but either way,
A good
thank you.
gnome?
And Dean says, thank you. And Nancy says, thank you.
Is your family followers of the Lord Polor?
Yes, but we stopped going to church some years ago. Try to get back into it. That's why we're burying her under the tree. The tree
Right.
basks in Pelor's splendor. It's the embodiment of Pelor on this world, and so she'll be in good hands.
Surely she is already basking in the glow of his warmth.
Thank you. I think she's returned to the ether from whence all souls came, but that's a matter of interpretation. And that's a pretty fucking sorcerous thing to say, those of you who would be aware of those sort of concepts.
Gumbucket has dealt with exactly one sorcerer in his life, but he didn't quite catch that.
They sort of shuffle you on. Do you accept that? They say, thank you for your time, we really appreciate it. Feel free to stay afterwards.
I'm gonna when I assume we like shake hands or whatever.
Mhm.
I'm gonna do it a little too intensely.
Okay. Frank, he has a weak handshake. So does Dean. Tries a little harder, but it doesn't work. And Nancy just holds out her hand.
I kiss her knuckles.
She nods. And then, yeah, you guys are gone for the next in line.
Just when looking at the body, is the wound in her neck completely covered up?
There's like a veil over it. So kinda, yeah. Like they just covered it in a sheet. They didn't really... Pretty big. Difficult to
Okay.
dress.
Nothing else out of the ordinary?
Nope.
All
I
right.
want to move the veil.
Whoa.
You
You're
should
gonna
have...
touch the body?
Why?
Sleight
Why
of
not-
hand check. Sleight
Why
of
not
hand
just...
check.
Why not just wait until it's, like, not the most public affair? Because they've
Yeah.
offered to let you stay afterwards. So, like,
I heard that. Yeah.
Okay.
you know, don't make
Okay.
a scene.
I don't make a scene.
You could if you really want to.
I do.
No.
It seems very
I
risky.
imagine I make a move and Lurch stops me, and I'm like, damn, if Lurch is stopping me, then I really need to rethink this.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's fair. That's all reasonable.
That's almost like that's like lose condition level of faux pas. I feel like as if they just kick you out, it's like okay,
Yeah.
you just turn everyone against you in a fell swoop. You guys hear a small and the Duke rolls in on an opulent carriage, and he walks forward with his entourage and looks at the body and he starts to make a speech. I don't have to do that speech. Because I assume you want to talk amongst yourselves, but he starts talking. Oh,
Do people do anything when the Duke is approaching? Like, do they step aside or kneel or?
they step aside. Some of them bow their heads as the customary.
Scumbucket doesn't.
Duke doesn't even look at you.
That's fine. That makes sense.
And he goes and he meets the children. They're talking, and then the widow Ainsley. She was such a good asset to this community. Oh, we're gonna bear these scars, etc., etc. It's a pretty good eulogy.
Pretty good. Oh, great.
Is it overly familiar? Like a priest at a wedding?
No. He says, well, I could go on about how good of a person she was, but you all know that. That's why you're here today. For me, as the civil authority here, she was an indispensable ally, and how she constantly bettered the place around her. Shucks! If I'd have died cold turkey and left the throne, ain't nobody I'd trust more than the widow Ansley. She knew this place, and she was a part of this place, and well, God damn it, we just all hate to see her go. And the kids, a few of them break down. Nancy starts to cry. Dean puts his hand on her shoulder, but he's also crying. And Frank is very stoic. People in the crowd. The attorney even wipes away a tear or two. He still looks haunted.
Frank's the oldest, maybe sorcerer.
Yeah.
Be a sorcerer.
Heard that. Damn. That's a moving eulogy. In Scumbucket's life, it is absolutely the best he's ever seen a royal behave. Guaranteed.
Well, the crowd sort of, it's kind of the wake peters out. People start to leave. The familiar faces stay and talk. All the suspects, that's kind of the whole like upper echelon of this town is like those 7 people.
The neighbors are here, right?
Yeah, the Birches.
The Birches. So, do you think we should go talk to the Birches?
The fucking
Heard.
leeches.
They were 3rd most wealthy family. They might do well to see the matriarch of the 2nd most wealthy family killed off.
Mm-hmm. I think that all 4 of us should approach them aggressively and at the same time.
Good.
Well, that really hasn't worked very well so far.
Yeah,
How do you mean?
the definition of insanity, right?
Well, particularly with the Duke, but also with the gnome and the lawyer. They didn't ever give us that much information.
They
It
just
might
got
work.
upset.
I defer to you, Slick. You're running this show.
How about I'll take a pass. Maybe Flit and I can take a pass, and then you 2 can come afterwards and see if you can get any headway that
I
we
like
don't.
that. You'll soften them up, and then me and
We'll be good
Cumberbatch
cops.
come in for the kill.
Well, don't kill him though, right?
The kill. That's right. The kill.
It's certainly an expression.
You work them down, we'll finish them off.
So, Cumbernauld, do you want to look at the body with your spectacles real quick?
Yes,
Okay,
very much
cool.
so.
So when you looked at it, it confirmed that everything checks out. The body died around the right time when they said it died, in the way that is consistent with the crash site and the investigation.
Fuck. Okay. Well. Fine.
No, but that tells you a lot.
That tells us a lot. Yep. That tells us a lot.
The townsfolk have
Was there
been
anything
speaking
missing?
truthfully to us.
The writ of land transfer,
Right.
but nothing else. I'd like to just start, and I think that we can just tell him because we got. So you guys walk over to the Birches. And,
Just Flit and I.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Keep it cozy.
Mr. and Mrs. Birch, they're old. They look like old mountain people. Well dressed. They look sad. Oh, you must be the investigators. I'm Mr. Birch, and this is my lovely wife, Edith Birch.
Hello.
Wonderful to meet you both.
Yes, I'm sorry to meet you under such awful circumstances. We spent most of our lives with Miss Ansley as our neighbor. Truly,
It's really hard to lose an old friend.
It is. When you're this old and you have this little to do, it's hard to lose the people you're close to. It's not like you have enough time to find new ones. They all just sort of shuffle off. And the wife says, Harold. And he says, sorry, I'm just thinking about somber things. Hey, Meg.
Do you have children of your own to spend time with?
And they kind of look at each other. We had a son, but he died in the war.
I'm sorry for your loss.
No, it's fine. I'd like to think that he's watching his old folks grow happy, and one day we'll join him in the infinite splendor of the law.
Of course. Are you close at all with the
That's
Ansley
something.
children?
Well, we were. I'm not really sure what happened, but they just sort of stopped talking to us.
When?
About 8 months ago?
Oh. I'm
We
sorry
heard
to
they stopped
hear
going to the
that.
galas.
Yes. Became rather withdrawn. I'm not really sure why. It's left Elaine and I scratching our heads, but you know, so it goes. The youth, I can't understand it.
And could I ask what? I understand that your family is quite wealthy. What is it that
Yes,
you amassed your wealth from?
the settlement money for my son's wrongful death. He didn't die in battle. He died in the barracks. And that's
No.
kept us
How?
comfortable.
If you don't mind me asking, what happened?
Well, there was just quiet among the men. They aren't really sure what happened, but he was found dead and had been strangled by several people. Horrible accident. We lived in the city, in Qatar, you know, it's the biggest city, wealthiest city in the world, you know it. And, well, we got all that money and just came out here to die comfortably. No one to leave it to, so might as well put it into a place like this and hope to leave our mark in a positive way. And Elaine and, what was his name, Reginald, they sort of, you know, step closer and he puts his arm around her.
While she's talking about her son, Scumbucket grows uncomfortably somber. And when she's done, he like grabs her hand and wishes her humble.
Say it.
What do you say? Like when someone's lost someone, I don't know. Humble
Condolences.
condolences. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. It's
That's
hard,
correct.
but thank you.
Yeah.
You're a good young man. So, yeah, it's gotten us a bit in the lurch, pun unintended. If you don't have any more questions, I think we're gonna hit the road. It's been a long day.
Oh, of course. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
Before they leave, Scumbucket takes a peek at the old man's hands while he shakes his hand or whatever.
Okay.
Are they strong hands, calloused hands, or are they weak old man hands?
We're like weak old man hands.
Got it. Same with the lady?
Yeah. The rest of the crowd sort of shuffles out, you know, about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, by the time the Duke leaves. And then it's you guys, the Ansley kids, and the lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose we can
The
examine the
groundskeeper
body.
goes back to the quarterhouse, and the lawyer departs. And it's just you and the kids.
I want to, in an aside to Flit, tell her to ask her to detect magic again now that there's fewer people here. See if she senses the same kind of tete-a-tete that she did last time.
Good idea. I detect magic.
Yeah, it's, so the kids are magic. That's all the magic that's left.
Mm.
The kids practice magic, so that's not really surprising.
Yeah.
There was some magic going on from the kids and or the body, and also from the crowd without the Duke
The
involved.
crowd, I think, in the direction of where the groundskeeper and the lawyer were.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not
I
the groundskeeper. I don't think. I think it's the lawyer.
I don't know. We can go bust some
Perhaps.
skulls and find out real quick.
I don't know that that's a place to start. It could be a place to end, but I don't think it's a place to start.
Gumbug is out of ideas.
Perhaps the children and the lawyer were working together.
Mm-hmm.
The lawyer as the sharpshooter, but how could he have gotten perched on the hill? They left from his house. How could he have gotten in position in time?
If he rode horse solo, he would have moved a lot faster than horse and carriage, as the missus would ride in.
But look at the map, there's one road.
He couldn't have been on the same road as them.
That's
Could
true.
he?
So then it would have had to be someone from out of town coming into town to do it. Unless it was the
It
groundskeeper.
wasn't either of the old folk. Neither of them had the hands to handle a crossbow like that.
I just don't see what they had to gain. They made some money and they've come here to settle down. They don't seem to have any ambitions of their own.
It's possible they don't have any ambitions, but they certainly got something to gain.
Cumbernauld.
Like
You
what?
feel the hairs on the back of your neck stand on end. You're not magical, but like a little bit of static or something.
Like somebody is making them stand on end.
You're being affected in some way, I suppose.
I look around. Perception check. I look around.
Yeah, you get advantage on perception.
Scumbucket takes notice of Cumberbatch looking around, and he gets ready.
You didn't quite see Frank look at you, but you saw Frank look away from you when you went to look at him.
Ooh. Frank,
Yes. Are you ready to have a conversation?
why don't you come over here? We have some questions for you.
Of course. He sort of walks over. Siblings are, closing the casket, and the gnome and the groundskeeper are making motions to bring it inside. Now that most people have left, the gnome is breaking down the table as well. And
Perhaps we should go to somewhere more private, Frank. What say
would you like to stroll around the grounds?
Very much.
Of course. You guys kind of just begin to meander through the shaded groves and bush rows.
Are we with?
Yeah, it's all of you and Frank, I'd imagine. Unless you guys want to do something else.
No, I want to stay behind. I want to keep an eye on the body.
Okay. Just sit by a tree.
I let the group know to go on ahead, and I'll just hang out back here.
Go.
Who
Everything
killed,
is normal. You can
You
go.
just ask like that?
Who killed it, Frank? What say you?
Who do I think killed my mother? That's what you're opening with? And he lights a cigarette.
I don't
Got
have
rings on
much
his hands.
time, Frank. I'm a busy man.
Sure.
Dispense with these games and deal.
Well, it's hard to say. Could have been the birches, but
Are you a fool, Frank? Do you find it so difficult to speak that it's hard to say, or are you afraid to say it?
I don't think you've given me a proper chance to speak, sir, if I'm being honest, but
Out
takes
with
a
it.
long drag of the cigarette. The birches stand to lose because they've been poaching on my mother's lands for as long as I can remember. They also have the money to hire someone that will want to keep the land in the family. Now, I think that it's impossible that this crime came from within because, again, we were all lined up. Everyone was getting what they wanted, and someone didn't want that. Now, I'm not sure who that
I'm gonna
is.
do my insecurity thing.
Okay. A very eroded, potentially like nebulous sense of self. Like you get that the person you're talking to is shooting your mannerisms and your sort of speech back at you. And that would lead you to believe that there's some sort of lack of identity or maybe some sort of appeal. But it seems like this person is unsure of who they are.
What makes you, Frank?
Jeez. I always struggled with that. In school, everyone had what they wanted, but it's special if you like doing magic. My friends, they like to make things with their hands, to craft, to write
I'm
stories.
not asking about your friends, Frank. I'm asking about you.
Well, it's because
Who
I don't
you,
know.
Frank?
I cling to magic, sorcery. I've not found a new spell yet. 15 years I've been trying. Ever since I came of age, I've been looking, searching for the one spell that will make my career.
Did anyone support you during that
My mother.
time? Oh, she did she? How did she support you, Frank?
With the money from our father. He got paid a handsome sum to be the Duke's knight. And that's the family fortune.
Your mother supported you with the money from your father, Frank. That doesn't.
Well, when my father died, my mother started to manage the affairs of the trust. She ensured that the money was going to be sufficient for us to live comfortably long after she was gone.
When
And
say
I do
support,
thank her for
Frank,
that.
I'm not talking about the money. I'm talking about your mother.
What about her?
Did she support you, Frank?
Yes.
She knew that I wanted prestige, that I needed to make a name for myself. She grew up wealthy as well and experienced the same ennui. And she saw me as an attempt to break that cycle. We were rather close, and of course she supported me. She was my mother. And no, maybe not rather close, but close enough.
If I heard who you were, Frank, what would she say?
She would say I was her son, Frank Ansley.
Bullshit, Frank. You know that's not what I'm asking you.
I honestly not sure what you're asking me.
Pathetic.
When did you learn magic? Who did you learn it from?
Well, we've got access to the best books in the kingdom. The Duke called in a sorcerer to train me for some time. A wealthy man from Qatar, but other than that, I've been learning on my own. I get books mailed from the big city. I'm on a list. They get their way down here by river.
You didn't have anyone around you helping you? It was just...
Justine and I taught each other a lot. And Nancy's always studied different schools.
Like what?
Well, she prefers enchanting. She likes that sort of thing. Suits her well.
You find her enchanting, Frank.
Don't listen to him.
No. Well, I think he likes listening to himself.
And your other sibling? Let's see. One does enchanting. What do you do?
Me? I'm a conjurer.
What do you conjure?
Are you not familiar? I can conjure most things, really.
Well, is there anything in particular that you specialized in? You're studying spells. I figured perhaps there was something that you'd taken a liking to.
To up the number of manifestations that are acquired when one opens oneself up for a summoning spell. Right now, I could summon several small creatures, but I want to be able to summon several more, and theoretically, the metallic load on my system from the magic poisoning would be irrelevant if I were to approach the spell in a certain way, but I just can't seem to get the phrasing right.
I'm sorry you've had such trouble with it.
It's okay. It's my life's work. If it wasn't trouble, what would I be doing?
What about, see, there are 3 siblings. The others, what does
they're
he
still
do?
coming into their own. I think Dean's probably going to move out soon. I don't know where he's going to go, but he's a bright young man, and I'll hate to lose him. I'll probably oversee the affairs of the manor, make sure everything is taken care of in wake of my mother's death. Nancy, I'm not sure. She has not come of age yet. Therefore, she's beholden to the manor grounds.
Sure. How long have you been trying to resolve this conjuring problem?
15 years.
Oh, I only asked because I thought perhaps you'd up in more studies as of late. We were talking to a few folks around about how you and your family seem to be doing prior to your mother's, well...
And what did they say?
And some folks were saying that things seemed a little off in the last 8 months or so, that you weren't showing up to parties. And, we just ask about how the family is doing as part of the investigatory procedure.
Yes, we were well. We were fine, just as well as anybody. It's hard watching someone wither away like that. It really takes a toll on you. And, well, of course we were withdrawn. It was worse than we were letting on. She would come home and sleep for days after a mere event. After a single gala, in bed a week. Barely able to move. That carriage driver's Stuart carrying her everywhere.
Well, now, I'm so sorry that you've had the troubles that you've had. It's unbearable, unspeakable. You're all quite strong for how you've handled it. I can't help but wonder, how did she have the strength for all of those meetings with your attorney if she couldn't hardly go to the galas?
Well, that's easy, isn't it? She travels by carriage a mile and sits in a chair for 4 hours. The galas, you're eating, walking around, dining, politicking. It's a lot more stressful than hanging out with a trusted confidant. And I think that, in the end of the day, John Stallworth offered my mother an escape in those final days. I think it was purely platonic, and
honestly entirely utilitarian that the two crossed paths in the first place, but I'm happy they did. Seemed good for each other.
He's a wealthy and wise man. He never studied magic, did he?
No.
I only ask because it seems like a pastime of the well-to-do here.
No, John's a crack shot. He could never study magic. He wouldn't need to. He could shoot you before he'd cast a spell.
Ah. Well, it's all just a terrible pickle. You don't have any other leads we could follow, do you? I'm struggling to make sense of this mess.
It's horrible. You're more than welcome to search the grounds of the house, talk to my siblings. I don't really know what to tell you, frankly. I understand you have a difficult job to do, but you seem like competent folks, and I trust you to do it. If you'll excuse me, the sun's getting low, and I think I'd
How
better...
did you feel when she died, when you heard the news?
It was horrible. It's one of the worst days of my life.
Insight check.
Mm-hmm. This guy's full of shit.
That does seem like the easiest possible thing to say.
But also you asked this while he was walking away. But he definitely gives kind of a squirrely answer.
Detect emotions.
Yeah, I don't trust this guy.
Interesting. He doesn't quite counterspell it, but you can tell that he just kind of is good enough at magic to not fall for that immediately. Especially because your questions are starting to put him on the defensive. So you're not sure. He seems like he wants to go back inside. He seems worn down, a little jittery, sad, but, in that order.
Can we go back into the house?
I said you were more than welcome to.
Thank you.
Of course. I just wanted to check up on it.
I'd like to discreetly detect emotions on the other kids.
Interesting. They are kind of in the same headspace as their brother, but you get more of an insight into it. And so it's definitely kind of just like a worn down and jittery and then sad. So that tells you something, but you're not quite sure what it is, considering that they're in a very emotionally complicated situation. You follow
their murderers.
You follow Frank back into the house. The house is pretty messy.
It's been a week.
I just want to sort of naturally reconvene with the group.
Yeah. There's sort of a foyer.
Watch the body.
There's a foyer, and then a big set of rooms, and all the rooms are connected with ramps. Because this woman couldn't do stairs. Upstairs does not have ramps because the staircase is spiral, and so they'd need to change the entire structural layout of the house, and just didn't do it.
We check out the widow's bedroom.
Yeah, absolutely. It hasn't been it's very messy. The chamber pot hasn't been changed, and she's been dead for 2 days. Nobody's cleaned it. The bed's not made. It doesn't look like anyone's been in here or was present to clean it up, because that would have been Stuart's job, the carriage driver and caretaker. So,
sure.
Does it look messy just in the last couple days, or it's been a really messy place?
It was messy, and then no one touched it. So, any food that's left out has gone bad. The piss and shit in the chamber pot have kind of gone stagnant. It's gross in here. There's little flies.
So this caretaker was spending so much time taking care of her and couldn't even clean up after her?
Well, he's been dead for 2 days, just like she has, and we don't want to do it yet. We haven't the strength. We're still processing.
And where did he stay?
He stayed over here, and he walks across the hallway to a small little closet-like room. It's very neat. It's got a bed and a couple boxes with some clothes in it and shoes on the wall. Maybe a belt hanging up on the door. Sword on the wall.
Is it a nice sword?
It's mid-tier.
Sort of eerie being in the room of a dead person, isn't it?
Certainly don't care for it. I wonder if there's anything of note in the cellar.
Oh, we've lost the key to that for some time. It was, we think it was in the, in Father's shed before it collapsed, but we haven't gone through the rubble. It's hard to say.
But there's really nothing worth looking at down there, I don't think. You can probably break the door if you really want to.
We'll be the judge of that, Frank.
Feel free. I could pick the lock, I just simply don't care to.
You don't care about your mother's
Frank,
death.
Quick
enough to pick a
question.
lock.
I'm about to physically try to break the door open, but if you can pick the lock magic-wise, I'd appreciate it.
No, I'm a bit anxious performing that spell in front of a bunch of people I don't know. You
I
can
hate
go
this
ahead and
guy. I want to
kick
kill
the
this
door
guy.
in.
All right. It's awfully suspicious, Frank. And I fucking break the door open with my bare goddamn hands.
Okay. It's the cellar. A lot of the food has gone bad.
I successfully broke it open.
Yeah, it's not hard at all.
Scumbucket sort of whisper chants to himself, "I'm the mud boy."
God damn it. Yeah, it's just like rotten food in jars. Like it was canned years ago and it's like finally gone bad, you know. It hasn't been messed with in 5 years.
Years
So.
on that. Yeah.
Nothing suspicious, nothing out of the ordinary.
No, it's just gross. Neglected. Well, who would let this much food be neglected, but nothing out of the
Can I
ordinary?
use my glasses to tell when the last time someone was in here was?
Yeah.
Yeah, that works. That
You
makes
put
sense.
on your time specs.
They're always on. It's just I activate them. I'm always wearing them.
Yeah, the last someone was here 5 years ago.
God,
Ah.
I kill myself.
I leave. What other suspicious area of the house was there?
The
Look
upstairs that
upstairs.
the mom couldn't go to at all.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You guys go upstairs. It's kind of that same level of weird neglect. Like it's sort of uncanny that people would live like this. Even if you despise wealthy people, they still have a very high standard of living.
Yeah.
And that is just not present. And that's
Fascinating.
when you go upstairs and see their rooms, like it's one thing in a dead woman's room, but like it's just kind of unsettling.
Guys, they're vampires. I'm telling you now, they're vampires.
They were out in the daytime.
Shit, they were out in the daytime, weren't they?
Does seem that there could
The
be
new
There's
theory.
there's something. I tell you what, there's something. All right.
No, I'm
I
concerned.
say we start blasting.
I'm not that
Rank
concerned.
first. See if the problem's solved. If not, Dean. If not, the next one.
Define
so on.
problem solved. I don't know. The problem is that 2 people are dead. I don't know how problem solved equals 5
Yeah, you
people.
need a
That-
confession.
That's a good point. I'm kind of imagining we kill Frank and then his body explodes in a hellfire of black magic.
Well, our mission is to find out what happened, not necessarily to seek retribution. So- If killing him does solve the mystery, then it would be useful, but otherwise, just killing off our leads.
maybe we enhanced interrogate Frank.
Have we crossed that line before? This new territory?
Nothing wrong with a bit of
I don't know how
waterboarding.
y'all get down. I've only been on one mission before. And that was relocating a herd of platypi.
Perhaps
Trivial,
we could,
by the way.
we could go through their things and see about journals or what kind of spell books, or is there an armory here? Who,
There's,
maybe
Frank.
there's a bloodied crossbow.
are you
Frank.
done going through my things? What do you need?
Frank, is there an armory in this matter?
No.
Can we have some guns to kill you with,
Shut
Frank?
up.
You ever shot a crossbow, Frank?
No. It's a fool's weapon.
Fool's
I've
weapon?
studied magic.
I've seen plenty of men die holding crossbows in their hands. Those men weren't fools.
Oh, so you do know something about yourself after all. Curious. Convenient.
But
Wow.
a crossbow can do plenty of things that magic can't do. Magic can't hurl a crossbow with precise accuracy.
You hope to
Point.
kill a man from 40 yards away now, could you? That's
a
certainly
bit
beyond your
far.
skills, a
I
petty
think it's-
sorcerer like you.
I think it's beyond yours too. But it's
Beyond
not about whether or
mine.
not you can land the blow, it's about whether or not you can block it.
Frank, I could shoot the eyeballs out of a tadpole from 50 yards. Don't tell me what I can and can't do.
Oh, my
I'm
apologies.
questioning your abilities as a petty, spell-less sorcerer.
So was it you who shot my mother on the ridge?
I've met
I think you know who
I've
shot your
met-
mother on the ridge, Frank.
No, I don't.
pitiful, milk-drinking, swampless bastards with a more impressive book of spells than the likes of you and your folk.
All right, listen.
Why are you getting so rude? Can you not see
In the
that I've already...
swamp, people shit magic more impressive than you cast.
Hey now. This is uncalled for.
I agree. I think he's trying to provoke me.
It's a different interrogation technique. I'm not.
Oh, you're interrogating me now.
Everyone's a suspect. I mean, anyone could have information. We're being thorough.
Flit, you're calming the situation now while I'm actively trying to provoke our suspect. The next level of interrogation is just torture. I don't know what you want me to do. That's all I got. You're actively working against me.
I don't think this is the best way to go about
Do you think your mother was proud of you, Frank?
it. Zoe and Mirabella could search the area, I whisper.
This is like a house. This is not really their forte.
So there's two areas on the grounds that you guys haven't really inspected. You inspected the grounds generally around the house to see any immediate signs of suspicion when you first arrived, but you didn't. Now, there's the quarter house where the groundskeeper lives, and then there's also word of this like collapsed shed, somebody that their dad used to use. This was how the cellar key got lost, etc., etc. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the centipedes have not gone into those areas, but at the same time, I don't know that that's your intention. But as far as searching the grounds goes, you've pretty much gotten most of the information you're going to get surface level from just looking at the house. And there are other areas as well that you haven't checked. So if it's just like, if you want to just fight this guy, that's fine. But if you want to continue searching in order to get a better reason to fight this guy, that's also fine. I'm just letting you know that you have more options.
I mean, that collapsed shed sounds pretty meaty.
That's promising, yeah.
Yep.
Frank,
Are you sending Pete
you've
there?
been cleared of suspicion
For now.
forever and always. Good night, Frank. We'll be on our way.
Where are you going to?
I've been our own accommodations.
Okay.
Thank you. It's kind of you to offer.
It's been a good night.
I give him a deep, ironic bow.
He bows his head. You guys exit the house. Dean and Nancy wave goodbye. All right, so you guys walk back outside. The night
think-
is cool, autumnal.
I think you got to send those fine creatures out to inspect the unknown areas of this property.
Yeah. Zoe, Mirabella.
Yes, Father,
Mirabella.
yes. We pine for the open night.
And they burst from the basket.
Jesus Christ.
Check out that collapsed shed and stick together. We know
Absolutely,
nothing
Father.
else we need.
The clap shed or the quarter house? Which first? Both?
The shed. And
Oh,
stay
Mira, you look so beautiful in the starlight.
And they play and crawl over each other and roll around and off into the distance.
Oh, children, I love how the moonlight glints against your carapace. How it shines.
Thank you, Father. They would not shine without you feeding us so well. So many bones to turn into our skin. It's a beautiful thing you provide us.
And they reach the shed. And
Hold on. I tell you what, Slick, those carapace in the starlight is a beautiful
I was
thing.
just telling them. Psychically.
Psychically, psychosexually telling them.
Father,
Yes.
there is an omen in the shed. A
An
sort of
omen.
whispering, a murmuring beneath the air. It is in the rubble. Shall we approach?
Dig no further, my children, and return to me at once.
Of course.
they return to you at once.
While Lurch like looks off in the distance to telepathically communicate, Bucket just like puts his hand on his shoulder and looks around, just so Lurch feels protected and safe.
Of course. The centipedes return.
Okay, there seems to be some kind of dark omen in the shed. We should investigate.
My money's on Frank.
I opened the door to the shed.
It isn't a door. It's the ground. It's collapsed.
Yeah,
right?
you kind of just like push the rubble aside. And there's like a lot of like rusted tools and artifacts and stuff, but there appears to be something in the rubble. And as you guys kick it more and more, you see a rock wrapped in a chain with runes carved on it.
Detect alignment.
Evil.
Yeah, actually,
How big bad?
It's not really a moral presence so much as it is just a very powerful magical force.
Can I make a knowledge nature check?
yes, it is. Looks to be some sort of sigil. But what you know about sigils is that it's kind of like it's all decorated. They're usually just rocks. And
Right.
So this seems kind of strange.
It's a sigil. It's a sigil that lets you teleport.
Yes.
Oh. Okay. Well, who wants to go through the mysterious secret teleporter to, I guess, the top of the hill where you can kill somebody?
I pull my gun out and I
Scum-
put my hand on the sigil.
The runes glow a
Wait.
dark red, but you don't go through.
Scumbucket does the same. He touches the sigil and tries to go through.
The runes glow red. You
Do they
can't.
grow more or less red?
It's almost like they
Same red.
want to be red.
I go up to it and I try to make out what the sigils say.
Okay. It's not really a language that you are familiar with, but I will give
What?
you a roll. You are able to decipher the old rune,
Nice.
and it says, "The root of this node will not be found unless you pass in heavy chains bound. This way is out, not a way in. It will take your all to come back again."
Well, I don't care for that at all.
Lurch has a family to take care of. Can't take that away from him. Can't take him away from that. Cumbernauld, you feel so inclined?
I don't know how we would get in that. We're only just now being presented with the riddle. Am I missing something about this?
I'm gonna put my hand on the
Heavy
stone
chains
and read
down.
the riddle aloud.
Oh, okay. I'll put my hands on it. I have nothing except my trust fund waiting for me back at home.
The rock is wrapped in chains, and that's what the riddle says.
So you have to wrap yourself in the chains, I guess.
Cumbernauld, so inclined?
I tie us both up, me and Scumbucket with the chains.
Okay.
I feel like we haven't been saying Scumbucket out loud enough.
No, I hate it. I feel bad calling you that.
I touched the rock after binding myself to Scumbucket,
You feel that you would be able to pass through if you wanted to.
and I do.
Does anyone else grab the chain and pass?
No.
Can you stick
Scumbucket sort of bundles up the end of the chain.
Split?
Can you
Scumbucket gives a solemn nod to Flit and Lurch. As
can they pass
Cumbernauld.
back through is what I wonder.
Only one way to find out. Let's go, and we go.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
So for character purposes, Scumbucket is 18 and theoretically invincible, as
Yeah.
all 18-year-olds are.
Yeah, he'd walk through that. He'd walk through that.
Yeah,
rock,
yeah.
no problem.
He's got no qualms going through, and he hates Cumbernauld, so he's happy for Cumbernauld to go through and die.
Okay.
But the idea of Lurch or Flick going through sort of upsets him for sure. So,
Interesting. So this is a huge fork in the sessions right now, where you can read the riddle. This way is out, not a way in. It will take your all to come back again.
Mhm.
So this is a fork. We have to end this as part 1 of this mission because of what happens when you guys go through here.
Hmm.
Now, do you want to know what happens when you go through here before we play again?
no.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I wanted to anticipatory surprise.
Yeah.
Cool. Guys, I genuinely think it will be.
Me and Scumbucket go, whoa! And then our
Yeah.
voices cut off mid-sound, I assume. And then they're like, where'd they go? And we don't know. Who knows?
It's so fun. It's a buddy cop movie
Yep.
for Scumbucket and
But we are
Cumbernauld,
not buddies.
an unlikely duo, and also for Flit and Lurch.
Okay, you guys just disappeared through the sigil. Flit and Lurch, your friends are gone. There's more chains wrapped around the rock. There's the quiet night around you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll set up camp. Good night.
Yeah.
I want to stay
Interesting.
nearby. Can sleep in shifts.
Cool. Who's taking first watch?
I haven't let Zoe and Mirabella out enough today, so I can let them out and take first watch.
Okay.
We hide our sleeping accommodations, obviously.
Nice. Okay. Cool. But you feel that same spell again as you're going to sleep.
Oh, I do not care for that at all.
Do you want to roll a knowledge magic check to try to figure out what it is?
I will do that.
Not sure.
Perfect.
But it's pretty high level. You know that. You're like, oh, strong. Don't know how strong or what kind of strong, but definitely not your average magical effect. Lurch, you feel it too. Just kind of the hairs on the back of your neck stand up.
I recall Zoe and Mirabella back.
Cool. Nothing else.
So someone
happens?
knows we're here, unless this is just happening over the whole property.
Damn, do we not level up since we didn't finish a campaign?
We're in the middle of the fuck. We have to do
Fuck.
like part 2.
Yeah, fuck. I want to level up.
I'll give you a preview. You go through the sigil wrapped in chains, and it's like 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I won't tell you what's on the other side.
Yep.
It's definitely not a regular sigil.
We're both babies now.
Well, you're smart, and you've read a lot. This feels like potentially interplanar. You're not really sure.
Oh, tight.
Scumbucket is absolutely fucking ready to pounce. He's ready to fuck shit up.
He's having a good
Nothing
night.
else. If it's non-violent, Scumbucket is out of his depth. But if it's violent, he is ready and down.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Wow. Okay, we just have to end it. I can't continue without it
It's
just
really
lasting.
late.
So I want
hours.
to say, I want to put this out there now. If we teleport and there's like aggressive aliens or whatever, Scumbucket deserves advantage. But if it's anything else, he gets penalized.
I don't
because he is like fully ready for combat and nothing else.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
And I really want to go to bed, guys. Adam, that's
Yeah,
very
no,
fun.
no,
So
it
I'm
is
looking forward to
bedtime.
finishing it next week.
Yeah. No, thank you.
I'm glad we went through the portal.
I am
too.
too. Thank you.
I'm glad it was me and you, Rob. It's a beautiful thing that we'll share
It
for the
is.
rest of our
It
lives.
is.
Good night,
With our
folks.
Hi, welcome to the debrief. I think we did pretty well that session, and there's really only one thing that I think is worth addressing. I don't want people to think I'm cheating, so I'm just going to break this down real quick. Detect magic works within a 60-foot radius. The grounds of the Ansley home were initially described as an estate with a manor and large tracts of land. The derelict shed holding the sigil was not ever within 60 feet of the characters, therefore they wouldn't have been able to detect the strong magical presence from the sigil. Furthermore, the centipede was not actually detecting magic. The centipede was picking up on, literally an electrochemical disturbance in the air. People would detect that as a bit of a crackle, or your hair standing up on end. And so when the centipede gets near the sigil, it's not detecting magic, it's detecting, the physical radiation that this magical rock emits. And those are two different kinds of energy. And obviously, had they been within 60 feet of the sigil, when they used detect magic, it would have pinged. But they had to go kind of out of their way to get to the house. And I'm sorry if I wasn't explicit about the distance between them all, but I think that the descriptions of the house and the estate that it is on were enough to where people were envisioning something large. I mean, a collapsed shed's not going to be right adjacent to the house. It's going to be off in the middle of the woods and on the property overgrown somewhere. I should have done a better job of distancing that, but either way, you either knew that or you didn't, and if you didn't and you were pissed, now you do. Sorry about the quality. Thank you for listening, and next session is already recorded. It's perfect. We used Craig and Grack, the backup. It was a really big deal that the bot went down, actually. The website updated, and they said the bot had legendary uptime. They crossed that out, and they said pretty good. So it was a big deal. We got screwed. Anyways, thanks again for listening. Tune in next week for part 2.